doom. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Red Zone, our very own sports show brought to you by This is Revolution Podcast. I am your host, Jason Miles, and I'm thrilled to have you with us this evening. If you are new to the channel, welcome. So glad to have you here. For our returning listeners, subscribers, and of course, our very valued patrons. Well, all right. You are the driving force behind the TIR machine, and without you, we couldn't do this. Also, for viewers of the main show, Kayfabe Episode 1, as well as all the other TIR video essays, is live on Means TV. But to view all our video essays, as well as the other amazing content that Means TV hosts, go to meanstv.com, enter discount code This is Revolution, all one word, and receive a 20% off monthly or 20% off discount monthly or yearly on a subscription. Simple as that. This is Revolution, all one word, and you get a discount. There's a lot of huge names in left media on Means TV. I am honored to be a part of that family. Now, before I bring in my co-host, let's talk a little bit about the thumbnail and a guy that's kind of a hot button topic. Nico Iamaleava. Nico, live life. I'm just going to call him Nico because I'm tired of fucking up his name. Nico Iamaleava. You know what sucks? I practiced saying it before I wrote it, and I've been saying it wrong. Not many Iamaleavas that live around me. But that's not an excuse. That is not an excuse. Nico, the young quarterback that led the Tennessee Vols to a college football playoff appearance, is out at Tennessee after allegedly his team wanted to negotiate an $8 million contract he signed upon committing to the university. Many sports pundits say that Iamaleava is promising but not worth the top tier money he's asking for, while others say that Iamaleava is indicative of what's wrong with NIL. Greedy kids that constantly want more. But is it that simple? Iamaleava is only 20 years old and has grown up in a reality of dwindling opportunities for young people. Either burden yourself with student debt in the hopes of landing a good job, or work many jobs and let the propaganda associated with the gig economy fool you into thinking that your 40 plus hours of toil is simply entrepreneurial grit. Nico was blessed by hitting the genetic lottery, having great size, and he used that blessing combined with hard work on his athletic ability, and he became a 5-star recruit coming out of high school in Long Beach, California. While Nico's numbers last year, 19 TDs to only 5 INTs for 2,600 yards, didn't jump off the board, he did take a team in one of the more competitive conferences, the SEC, to the college football playoff with a 10-3 record. Universities still want to control all the cards when it comes to NIL and transfer portals. As we've said before, developing talent is secondary to the yearly jigsaw puzzle that coaches and athletic directors go through to build a winning program. Schools are willing to spend millions of dollars for a one-year wonder. Think Miami and Cam Ward. That move was mutually beneficial for both parties. Ward was able to play with top-tier talent, and come Thursday, may be the first pick taken in the 2025 NFL draft. Miami was able to become a powerhouse program again. Neither was locked into a long deal, so the Miami situation is the ideal situation that schools with large NIL budgets opt for. Continuing to attempt to recruit 5-star national talent out of high school, but mine the transfer portal for pretty good players that can be elevated to star caliber players on a team with elite facilities and talent. But Iamaleava is different. He's part of a new generation of young players that understands the transactional nature in all relationships. He didn't want to stay at home and play at UCLA. They don't have the money or prestige as the Tennessee Vols. The Vols play morning and afternoon games all year long. So if you perform well, you'll get Heisman attention. And with that attention comes more money and sponsorships. There is no allegiance to your home geographic region. The only allegiance is to money. But isn't that what the NCAA was built on? The student athlete paradigm was created as a way to not pay workers' compensation claims. The rhetorical sleight of hand makes the student out to be more student than athlete. And for decades, that worked. Kids still got paid, but it was a clandestine affair that existed in the dark shadows of donor money and fictitious employment. Now, there is no blackmail for these kids to fear. They are demanding fair market value. But what is fair market value when the market is so free? Nico Iamaleava isn't a villain and isn't responsible for the degradation of the sanctity of college sports. He's just a part of an economic system that lusts for more. Cities and lives are destroyed under capitalism in the lust for more. So why are the pundits aghast at the reality that the student athlete is having a mask-off moment where there is no pretense on why they attend the university in the first place? Money. So before we talk about our NFL draft predictions, join us in a discussion about the neoliberalization of college athletics and what that means for higher education beyond sports. And to join me in that discussion, please welcome Macadocious Rex.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
What's going on, man?
It's Iamaleava. That's pretty.
Really?
Yeah.
Phenomena. That's what I say.
Wow. Poor Nico and Madden. Okay, one, can we be upset at his parents? Nico, okay, I can get on board with that.
And Madden?
But Madden?
That is the most Negro shit in the history of Negro. I shouldn't say that because there's white people that do that shit to their kids too. And with some fucked up ass shit. Especially where you live. You meet some white people with some fucked off names.
One of my great friends named his kid after a Game of Thrones character, and I was very, very upset.
You know the guitar player for the band Mastodon named his kid Anakin.
Naming your puppy Anakin, I'm down. Let's go. Naming your kid Anakin. I met a woman whose name is Khaleesi.
What's that from?
Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
DC Joe Black. I don't know why that song was stuck in my head. Y'all be there.
Every time I hear that song, I just think back to 40-Year-Old Virgin when Paul Rudd's like, Yamo gonna shoot up this place, you know?
DC Joe Black said Nico, please. And the way he spelled it with 2K.
Dude, you didn't see the other one where Nico's ain't loyal?
I saw that on the screen. These Nicos ain't loyal. So I haven't talked to you in a while. I had a speaking thing with Ben Burgess in the Bay Area, and on my way up, I got very little traffic crossing the border this time.
Oh,
but Ben Maller was on the radio because I crossed super late, so I don't hit traffic crossing the border and also in Los Angeles. And he was talking about this and talking about the NCAA and kind of having a very libertarian take on sports in general, and had said something along the lines of, anytime government's involved in anything, it's horrible. He's like, the NCAA is horrible, government's horrible, keep them out of anything because they F it up. And I didn't realize, because the radio station that I get here in San Diego, I don't think it's strictly a Fox affiliate, because I believe they have ESPN shows too. So they just kind of play sports shows, whatever syndicated ones they can get.
Shit, yeah.
And Fox has a ton of syndicated shows, and they're pretty far right. You know, everybody always goes, well, Jason Whitlock. I'm like, yeah, it's not just Jason Whitlock.
Yeah.
It's things like saying there's these mild undertones, and I caught on to it. So I got a lot of time on my 10 to 12 hour drive, and I said, let me call in.
Oh, I love where this is going already.
I called in and I said, so the screener goes, "What do you want to talk about?" I said, "Well, I think the host was a little ahistorical in his retelling of the creation of the NCAA." And he goes, "Well, he was just being facetious." I was like, maybe. But I don't think a lot of people understand why the NCAA was created in the first place. So they put me on air, and I say my piece about the NCAA. And he admits, he goes, "Yeah, it was a death claim, right?" I was like, "Yes, someone did die."
Listen,
But it was
we all know why the NCAA was created. Because they got tired of schools like Minnesota claiming to be national champions. They're like, we can't have that shit. Okay.
Whenever that stuff happens, it's a labor issue.
As far north as we're going to allow national champs is Ohio. Nothing above that line of latitude. Nothing. You cannot.
I feel like back then Minnesota was more of a respected place. Minneapolis was more respected.
I love Minneapolis, and everybody. I'm joking because the Gophers did win 3 in a row, and I believe the late 30s. But it's just weird that we had so many. That's what kills me. Like Ohio State's done it too. Like I claim a national championship from 1854, and it's like that was just a group of 22 people running around and hitting each other. Like there wasn't a ball involved. They were just
like no forward passing whatsoever.
No, there's no passing because there's no ball. It's just a group of people that just ran into each other. It's just like when they said Abner Doubleday created baseball in 1846. Are we sure? Are we sure?
What did it look like when it was first? Yeah.
Just like a bunch of bored farmers in a field. Just like, hey, you want to hit
But he hung up on me, Mac, when we got into the Nico talk.
What?
Because I wanted to bring that up. Because my whole thing was, and I got to say this on air. Apparently it's a podcast, and I don't know if the podcast version plays the call-ins. I'm like, why are you mad about this kid? There's a lot of character assassinations on this kid and his family, which I think are really not fair. And we can get into his brother if you want to, because his brother's story. I read about the brother today. I didn't realize he transferred high schools and didn't even play his senior year.
Yeah, dude. There's a lot going on there. Honestly, I want you to finish your story, but there's a shades of a certain character with the last name Ball, and he's only got one leg now.
Yeah. Look, I think that you can't have. We did a show on Andrew Tate last night on the main show, and you can't have Andrew Tate without certain conditions, right? Like, remember that guy Mystery, and he was a pickup artist guy, and he had a reality show for like 5 minutes. No one remembers him anymore, or that reality show, unless you're my age or your age. Because there were a lot of other things going on in people's lives, and we weren't talking about a crisis of masculinity. There's things that need to happen for Andrew Tate to take place. And first of all, there has to be like loneliness epidemics. There has to be, economic downturns. Certain things have to happen for Tate to exist. I feel the same way about the situation we have with sports. The Balls have always, that didn't sound right. The Ball family. That doesn't sound.
My Balls family.
there's no way I can do this without.
And it's like Jason, how many balls do you have? And he's like 4. What? I mean, no. There's only 2. There's only 2.
It's like what's the dad's name? Jermichael. Lamar Ball and his children. I think he starts before there's an NIL.
Yes, much before.
And what he says is, well, I'll have one of my kids. And this was something that me and Coach Will used to always talk about with the 1-year rule in college sports, where you had to play at least 1 year of college before you went to the NBA, because so many kids were coming out of prep schools, right? Mm-hmm. There's always going to be a workaround to get to the machine.
Yeah.
And for years, college was always kind of a breeding ground. And with the 1-year rule, it was really hurting college sports to a certain degree. And the Balls were like, we can take our kids overseas.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I never understood the rule other than it was a way for the NBA to prop up a free minor league, right?
Yes.
But when you see them pass the one and done rule, and there's nothing in the rule book about allowing young kids to go overseas to play professional ball for a year, like you knew that's exactly what was going to happen, right? Like you knew that was what was going to happen.
Yeah.
These kids can earn a little money, spend a year, out of high school, and then have their names called in the draft. Now, I think it's worked out well for, I'm sorry for forgetting his name, the ball that plays for Charlotte.
Ladarius.
When he's healthy, he's
pretty good.
He's one of the best. Like he's a lot of fun to watch, right?
Yes.
The middle son was never going to play in the NBA. I hated how LeVar kept trying to shoehorn him into his other son's contracts. Like, hey, you took my older son or my youngest one. Can you take the middle one too? I'm tired of him like hanging out in my house.
You're just fucking up these kids' names.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jolamite.
Jolamite, thank you. But for the oldest one, he got a bad deal, I think, coming out of college. Yeah. There was a lot of eyeballs on him. And then he had like a couple really good preseason games, and everybody expected him to just immediately pan out in the NBA. And that's not how that works. And then he's just had a horrible string of injuries since. But I felt bad for the kids only because like LeVar taught them that janky shooting motion that really didn't pay off for the oldest. The youngest worked with a shooting coach the summer going into his rookie year to not shoot like that. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, I thought LeVar played it well, because where did LaMelo Ball end up going to play professionally? New Zealand, right? New Zealand. Not a rough league to play in. It's a fairly young professional league. Not like they are in like Spain and France and the other like European powerhouses. He could look good. I mean, I think it's better than him going to like some tiny Eastern European country and just being allowed to jack up 30 shots a game, but it is what it is, man. LeJason Miles.
I didn't remember. I knew they were all L names, or
yeah.
I couldn't remember.
But yeah, no, I just when I kept hearing more about the Iamaleava family, I'm like, dude, there are so many like intersecting points with the balls.
Look, we're gonna say balls, okay? So don't make fun of us for saying balls.
Jason and I are 12. We're 12.
But I think that guy is ahead of his time, and had his kids been NIL kids, he'd have been a different beast, and you'd be seeing this situation happen, and his kids would have been in college for like 15 years.
Yeah, especially the middle one. He would have been like that tight end that
went 9 years in school.
Yeah, 9 years in college. I mean, granted, he walked away with a PhD.
I hope.
So good on him, but like, I respect the hustle, I mean, Nuri, yeah, we are Nuri, and I'm not going to apologize for talking about testicles. I mean, balls.
In reading about the kid and in hearing because again, 12-hour drive, for the most part, I'm only listening to talk because it does keep me awake for some reason. Sports talk. What I found fascinating was no one ever talked about the system in which all these kids exist, and no one ever talked about kind of kids outside of saying just young people in general are more greedy nowadays. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think there's that kind of difference in them. I think the one thing that makes them more unique than maybe their older peers, is that they're very brand conscious.
Yeah, and I'd even argue this, Jason. Younger people are aware of their value, right?
because
And
they're so brand conscious and everything is capitalist transactions.
yeah, and it not even just that, you know, like my boss today at work was pitching a fucking fit because 3 people walked off the job because another place offered them a better gig, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he's like, I have competitive pay, and I looked at him like, no, you don't. I was like, you realize you have everybody that works here wear multiple hats with no pay increase. Younger people are more aware of their value. If they know, and I agree with them 100%, if they're working 2 people's jobs, they should be getting 2 people's pay. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And people don't want to hear that shit. Oh my God, a manager or like an owner. Oh, no. You're a part of the team. No, I'm fucking not. A real team helps each other out, and you're not fucking helping me out, dude. It's like, bro, I make enough to where I eat reasonably well the first 2 weeks of the month.
Very important caveat in that statement.
Right? And then it's time to pay them bills. And it's like, okay, there are 5 work days this week.
Yep.
I'm going to have 4 meals that are ramen.
Mm-hmm.
One of those meals on 3 of those days will be peanut butter and jelly. And then the rest, I hope I froze something to get me through the last 2 weeks, you know? And it's just like, you know, we get stuck in these positions where we have to work at these, and you know, everybody is susceptible to this now because it's kind of like you said, this is capitalism. You know, as long as the bosses are making money, as long as that fucking stock price is high, we're good. We're successful. Bullshit. You're only as successful
and I'm
as your people.
disposable. I'm equally as disposable. And what Nico Iamaleava,
just call him the Rock's cousin.
The Rock, is he?
It seems like every Pacific Islander is related to him somehow.
Because what's interesting about him is this: before, if you lost a quarterback, it was because of injury, and now we're losing people to transfer last minute over deals. This was going to happen at some point.
Yes.
And what I find very interesting, these kids that we're seeing successful, if you look at the first round last year, those were all 23-year-old seniors that transferred from other programs. That's what we're seeing at the end. No one came into a school and stayed for 4 years. So you got this kid that you paid money to. To me, it paid off. You went to the playoffs. But what do you have behind him, right? So you fire him. Ultimately, you fire him because you guys,
essentially,
no one's bigger than the team. And it's not about no one being bigger than the team. It's about, we're not going to let you hold us hostage. Look at it like any other. Aaron Rodgers is the same case in point. You're disposable at this point. You're no longer an MVP caliber player that's going to bring in big name free agents because they want to play with you. You're not going to bring in big time coaches because they want to be around you. You are just a problem that is disposable, and we can treat you as such. And that's kind of how they look at this kid, because there's something that they had that they didn't have before. And that was the ability to go, you can kick rocks, and we can find somebody maybe not as naturally gifted as you, but they're okay. Maybe they were a 4 or 5 star coming out of high school and sat on the bench or something. We can pay that cat some money,
or
and he can come in and play day one.
You know what we're seeing a lot of? Dudes that get polish up their game at small schools,
very small schools,
and then transfer as a finished product to the big school. Right? Like the guy I felt the worst for, if I could say that, but I'm just trying to quantify it, right, was Joey Aguilar, the UCLA quarterback that just transferred from App State.
Yep. I was going to mention that.
Right? He sees the writing on the wall. I mean, and honestly, where did we think this kid was going to end up?
Joey or Iamaleava?
Iamaleava.
Look, when they said, he's going to go back to USC and take less money, my first thought was, I don't know if you think the same way. When this NIL thing first happened, the first place I think it went down was California. And my first thought was, USC and UCLA are going to get all the players because who wouldn't want to be in California? There's just so much money there. There's Hollywood there. This kid's from all those places. He decided to go to Tennessee for the prestige and the cash. Now he's back at UCLA and everybody's saying he's so stupid. I'm like, why do you think he's stupid? That's a major media market.
Yeah.
The number 2 in the nation.
And you're not really losing any conference prestige.
None.
Right? You went from the SEC to the Big Ten.
There's none.
And here's the thing, like he went home. And yeah, I get it. These players, no matter what sport it is, are brand conscious. You're absolutely right. 100% agree with you there. You and I are eye to eye. But when you grow up in a bubble, like a lot of these fucking kids do, and Prairie, thank you for that. I appreciate you. Where they're told you're the best, you're the greatest, and they're at home and they go to a place like Tennessee, completely out of their comfort zone, right? Culturally, it's a lot different. I mean, how many Pacific Islanders are you going to find in Knoxville, Tennessee?
None. You know why? Because I've been there too many times.
There you go. Right? So the pull of going home, I totally understand. I get it. Like when all this started, I was like, that kid is going to end up back in a California school. I would fucking put money on it. I didn't think it'd be USC only because Lincoln Riley,
another island transfer.
They did. They got Miava from UNLV who played very well at the end of last season. I don't know if he's going to be the guy going into this season. Because, USC always recruits well. It's just whether Lincoln Riley can figure out how to coach them properly. But, I knew this kid would end up back in California. I didn't think it was going to be Berkeley because they just brought in another transfer kid. I was thinking maybe Fresno State if it got like late enough in the period.
But Berkeley, like to your point about Berkeley, that's a school, Mac, that had a pretty good quarterback who came from Miami. Right, they recruited him out of Miami. I don't know how many stars he was coming out of high school. Probably not that many because Cal's football program in Stanford is kind of going back to where they're usually been.
Yeah, but in also, like, I don't think people are giving this enough thought. Even with the House v. NCAA settlement coming, where every school is going to have to pony up $25 million, the academically rigorous schools are going to be punished the most with this. Because they'll have the money to pay you. You're still going to have to get in. Right.
Yeah.
People give Notre Dame a lot of shit and I tell them all the time, they are the Duke of college football. They find the most athletic nerds in the country and get them on the field. Like it's fucking fact. You can say they're just football players. They fudge the rules. Dude, it's like, have you been to a Catholic place? They will fudge the rules for priests that want to like molest children. Yes. For schools though, no. All right. They don't do that. Just look at the shit they pulled in fucking Canada and the United States with their residential schools. The kids that didn't want to fucking get along and turn white, they end up in a fucking hole in the ground. So like it's, these academically rigorous schools are going to get beat over the head with this. I really believe that. Outside of the schools like Notre Dame and Duke and whatnot, but like this House v. NCAA settlement, I think, before we get more into the weeds on Nico, is going to force a form of collective bargaining. I think it's going to have to, right? Because $25 million is the baseline. Every school is going to have to pay it. And right now, the percentages are roughly 75% of that $25 million will go to the men's football team, 10% to men's basketball, 5% to women's, and the rest will be split up amongst the other sports. How is this going to work if you can throw all the money in the world at a player, but he can't get into school? Like maybe Cal resets the market by overpaying for certain people, right? And that's what we're talking about, right? This whole market ideology when it comes to this, how Nico got to to Tennessee with a 4-year deal for $8 million. And after 1 year, he's like, well, it came down, believe it or not, to Carson fucking Beck, okay, who, you know, at the time was dating a Cavender twin, saw the writing on the wall about Georgia. I'm going to go to Miami to be close to my girlfriend, you know, and he gets one that's $4 million a year. Now, I don't know if you watched a lot of Tennessee or Georgia. I never really thought Carson Beck was.
I didn't think he was all that.
Right. He wasn't
I thought he'd get a shot in for preseason in the league. I didn't think he'd be like a first rounder.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, dude, Nico, yeah, he didn't exactly light things on fire, but I think he did a pretty good job as a freshman quarterback running a very complex offense. Josh Heupel is no joke, man, when it comes to being an offensive mastermind. His playbook is very complex. And this kid seemed to really have it down by the end of the season, right? So, yeah, DC, he did, or Dolomite, he did actually. Mensa ended up getting like $3.5 million to leave Tulane and go to Duke. So Nico saw these two players, one dude leaving a small school in Louisiana and going to Duke, which is still building from my gosh, what's Elko years into the Manny Diaz years, you know, having some really successful seasons, and seeing Carson Beck go to Miami and get $4 million. And what has Carson Beck actually done? A whole lot of fucking nothing, you know, like, I don't know, man. So
I wasn't blown. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thoughts.
You know, but like when a player, this is what really bothers me. A coach will use an offered position to jack up his price with the school he's at, or to get a better job at a third school.
Yep.
Right. He leverages those things to get more money. It happens all the time. We have coaches leave 2 years into their deal to go to another job.
Bigger school.
Right. If a player suddenly does it, though, this player is a malcontent. He's selfish. He's above the team, you know, and it's like, no. Here in this country, we talk a lot about markets and value. Okay. 2 words that make me want to get an erection and slam my dick in a door multiple times. Okay. I fucking hate those words, because those two words should only be applied to goods, not to fucking people.
But we also live in a country, Mac, and you know this, where we'll move manufacturing and destroy entire cities in the name of profit margins.
That's right.
So the way I look at these kids who understand this at this point, right? They see the writing on the wall. They understand their value, and they understand that no one cares about them. They watch sports is 24 hours a day. College football is 365 days a week, 24 hours a day. So you know about these moves. College basketball is the exact same way. Coach goes to a small school, maybe gets to the tournament, maybe gets a Cinderella Sweet 16 berth. What's the first thing they say? I'm here for the long haul. I want to stay at Duke, Prairie State, A&M University, A&T Tech.
Shaka Smart comes to mind immediately. Goes on that great run with Virginia Commonwealth.
There you go.
And 5 weeks later, he's in Austin, Texas. You know, like,
right? Because that's what you want to do. You're out there handing out your cards at the tournament. You know, you'll take a assistant coach gig at a bigger school because it's probably paying you more than what you're getting at this little school with a horrible facility, right? So players see that, and they also understand that whatever they do that year, anything short of winning a national title or a Heisman means that you're looking for the next Heisman candidate, be it through recruiting, which is going to be rare, or the transfer portal. Nobody's job especially in these glory positions, is safe. So you're going to see a lot of this movement. And I go back to what I said in the intro about Cam Ward. Cam Ward could have stayed, didn't want to stay at Washington State. When Miami paid him all that money, that is the model that these schools want to build on. Maybe you have him for 2 years, maybe, but more than likely. And then Lincoln Riley left a very good program in Oklahoma, back to coaches, to go to USC. So you know, maybe you have him for a year. Most likely you're gonna have him for a year. That kid's gonna ball out for that year. He's gonna have faster wide receivers than he's ever had. He's gonna have a better defense than he's ever had, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he can run around, throw the ball real far, and look real great when he does it. Cam Ward is the prototype that all these schools want. We can give him some money.
I mean, literally a 0-star recruit coming out of high school, and he was a Heisman finalist. You know,
1-year deals. He's on 1-year deals. If he does well at Washington State, which he did, all that's going to do is show people, you know, I can go to Washington State for a year.
Yeah, building block this shit.
Yeah.
You got a wide open offense, and like I said before, you go to the small schools to polish up your game, and then you leave when you're a somewhat finished product, so to speak, right? And go to that big school because, like you said, they're going to be able to pony up $2.5, $3, $4 million for you to go and ball out for that year, really get your name out there, you know? And I mean, this also feeds into this obsession that I don't think is healthy at all with rating kids on a 5-star scale when you don't know how they're going to play against bigger and better competition. For me, it's like the same thing with the NFL draft, right? I love watching it because I'm a football junkie, you know, like it's my heroin, you know, rather than injecting shit in my veins, I rot my brain with Mel Kiper's voice. Okay. That's what I do. All right. But we do have this weird obsession because you don't know how this particular player, regardless of sport, we could be talking about a gymnast here. How are they going to deal moving from like high school stuff to college? How are they going to? Oh, thanks, Tony. That made me one of the nicest things anybody said about me. Because I actually got -2 stars in high school on the football team.
I didn't even know they could do that.
Yeah, my rating popped up, and I was like, "Holy shit!" After I had to listen to the dial-up kick up, and then I found my rating, I was like, I could have just fucking went and jerked off. It would have, you know, saved time. But you know, like when they get into these bigger and better, you know, leagues or competitions, like you don't know how this kid's going to be. Like a guy like Nico is going to dominate in high school because he's bigger and faster than everybody else on that field.
Yeah.
Right. Tennessee, you saw it kind of even out there a little bit, right? He's playing in the SEC now. You can't get away with doing all that wazoo shit you did in high school, you know? Then you get to the league, and you definitely can't do any of that shit that you did in college.
Ask Johnny Manziel.
Exactly. Dude, you know? So, like, dude, even at Reggie Bush, this was a guy who could make one move and be gone. In the NFL, he learned quick, I can't do that. You know? Everybody's big. Everybody's fast. Everybody has a head for the game, for the most part. Right. So, like, you know, I hate that we reduce kids to this shit, man.
Well, you're right. Once you start rating, once you give a value to something, an intrinsic value, that's how everyone's looking at it. And that's how these kids are looking at it because now they understand the value. It's not magical anymore. The 5-star that they have coming out of high school is just a negotiating tool to get them to a table. And then they have to put up. And Nico can sit there and go, well, I did. I don't play defense, so maybe you should get more corners. Or maybe a better front four.
Yeah, if you want me to be upright to throw the ball down the field, maybe you should get me a left tackle because Jack Sawyer ate his lunch all fucking game.
So it's not as simple as, well, you know, I saw one former NFL player say you should have been in your playbook and not get sacked. It's like, dude, you're being oversimplified here, because here's the problem. Older players are mad because they didn't get a chance to come up in the NIL days. So they hate it. And everyone has bought into the lie that there's supposed to be loyalty, which is so odd, because NFL players are the first people that talk about, well, the teams aren't loyal because our contracts aren't really guaranteed and they can cut us at any time, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think these kids should be loyal? Because first of all, for years we said they're there to get an education. Again, the mask is effing off.
Yeah.
These kids aren't even in class and no one cares. Before it was like the dark secret no one talked about. As much as they move around, when do they have a chance to be in class? Like, seriously.
Yeah. I mean, we got nationwide conferences now, you know, like,
yeah,
to get there for a noon Saturday game, you're leaving Friday morning, you know, like it's nuts. And that's why I think this, when we saw that, when California said, we're going to go ahead with NIL, typically with sports legislation, which I still think it's nuts that we have, the rest of the country follows. And that's exactly what fucking happened. North Carolina right now is getting ready to pass an NIL bill that would allow high school students to make money. Right. But if California gave everybody a 5-year head start, which is essentially what they did, right? And this will be one of the few times I give the state of California any credit. They actually had a very comprehensive, well thought out, well written bill. And, you know, like any bill, it could have been improved, but we live in a society that horse trades and ruins legislation every day, right? But that's just where it is. But this was actually a good bill, you know, laid out the cans and won't, you know, shouldn'ts and all this. But then you have some states that literally just have bills that say student athletes should be able to earn money from name, image, and likeness rights. And that was essentially the crux of the bill. Nothing there. That's what allowed all these like NIL collectives to form. If you got the 5-year head start from California, why aren't you building a system which, if you're a rich fucking white dude and you want to donate to your alma mater into this NIL thing, it should be a controlled thing, right? It should have some oversight. There should be a plan, you know, especially when you're talking tens of millions of dollars, right? That didn't happen. So now we have this free-for-all where some schools have multiple collectives, right? You have the situation in Cal where they're like, if you don't let Ron Rivera run the whole program, we're not going to pay out. You know, I think we're going to see this kind of like craziness continue until there is some sort of collective bargaining, right? For the House v. NCAA $25 million settlement, you know, the money that goes from the university directly to athletes, right? I think that is probably going to happen, because if not, you're going to start seeing whole teams just get up and like, fuck it, I'm out. Right. And it's going to take something like that. Like if North Dakota State decides to do that, no one's going to give a shit. Excuse me. If San Jose State does that, no one's going to give a shit. But if some team in the SEC or Big Ten does it, holy fuck, you're going to see rules implemented and all this shit happen. Right. But to go along with the money that's being paid directly from university to student, right? Mm-hmm. I think you're probably going to see some tightening of the rules around these NIL collectives, because you don't want another Jaden Rashada issue, who is now going on to his 4th team in 2 years, right? Where he was promised $12 million by the University of Florida's NIL. They decided they want to pay it. He sues them. They sue back. He transfers to Arizona State, right? Mm-hmm. Well, Arizona State's under sanctions from shit under the Herm Edwards fucking regime. Well, he transfers to Georgia, doesn't get the starting job. He's back in the portal, you know? So like, if people were really serious about wanting this system to work without a Wild West feel to it, then let's regulate it.
But they want the Wild West feel.
Oh, until it doesn't benefit their alma
Until
mater.
it doesn't build. Look, I don't even know how much they care about that shit, because there's a fitness influencer that went to IMG just to show you what.
Okay,
what
can we before you get into that, can we just all recognize that our country is fucked when a sports agency is legally allowed to start a high school?
You would think it'd be a bigger issue on these sports shows. They never bring it up.
No.
They'll talk about Bishop Sycamore. They don't even talk about that anymore.
Yeah, another travesty.
But they'll never talk about IMG.
No, they won't. And what kills me is when you look at the academy system for a lot of sports in Europe, it works, right? It works. But like, you can meet a nice flat bottom woman down there in Mexico, Jason, and you could just have one night of passion where you don't pull out. She doesn't want to get up and go get the Plan B pill in the morning, and you end up with Jason Miles the third. Why the third? I don't know. I think you just wanted a Roman numeral behind your son's name, right? And Jason Miles the third grows up and shows that he's very athletic. He succeeds on the pitch. He plays football, and he's good at baseball and basketball. He can just do it all. And you're like, baby, hate to do this to you. Moving to Florida. And Jason Miles III is going to go to IMG, right? Anybody can take their fucking kid there. They're only semi-selective as long as you can pay.
Mm-hmm.
Your kid can go there and get smacked around as like a four-stringer on that football team, right? Like, you can. Just keep the checks coming, you know? And that's what kind of kills me. There's a lot of phenomenal athletes down there at IMG. And there's also dudes that like sprang from the loins of the guy I went to high school with, right? And who only left Warren like twice, you know? So like that's what kind of makes me so mad. We have a sports-centered high school, you know, that was started by a goddamn sports agency, man. You know what, Prairie? He's getting that YouTube money now. They lifted it.
God is good.
God is good.
Jason Miles. Look, I watching this guy talk about IMG and the dietary meal plans everyone's on, and the facility, and yada yada yada, the weight training, yada, and the huge wall of all the professional athletes that went to that school. It's just supposed to make the average person go, oh, wow, that's really cool. But you ignore the part that Max said. And I think that's because, again, we live in a moment where there is no more pretense of doing both things and this kid being kind of an amazing student athlete. Remember when we'd watch games back in the 80s and even 90s? I think they still do it, but they go, so-and-so player has the highest GPA.
Yeah.
On this school.
They really, the only time you hear about it now is if they're academic All-Americans, right?
Yeah.
They're and it, you know what it typically is? The center, right? It's always the center. Joe Brzezinski, center for University of Nebraska, also an All-American, hasn't missed a game in 4 years here. He's double majoring in aeronautics science and
sports medicine.
It's
like, always he's majoring in sports medicine.
Well, it's just like, when you look at a guy like Myron Rolle, safety at Florida State, what was his major? And nobody fucking believed it when they announced it on television. Pre-med.
Myron Rolle is interesting because he was one of the big people to talk about money in sports and how it needed it, because he said he's comes from a very well-to-do family. And I believe he said he wanted to be like Bill Bradley. He wanted to be a very successful player, and also possibly like be in government or have like a big time job. I think he left school to do a Rhodes Scholarship in the UK.
He did, yeah. And he went and finished He's a surgeon now.
Chad Pennington did that as well.
Yeah. But like, it's just, you're absolutely right when you said like the mask is off.
Mm-hmm.
You do have players that are like, I need to get my education because professional sports is a crapshoot, right? It is. You can be an otherworldly player at whatever, an otherworldly athlete at whatever. You are one knee injury away from being at the end of your career in your early 20s.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, dude. Yeah, Tony, that's the thing. I didn't go to college until I was 33, right? I get there. I'm double majoring in history and journalism. I write for the student, the newspaper, mostly about sports. I ended up being the sports editor, but half the athletes that went there, I tutored. I'm not even fucking kidding you. UNC Pembroke has an amazing D2 basketball and D2 wrestling team. Phenomenal coaches. Very, always glad to sit there and give me a quote. Pembroke is trying to kind of raise itself academically. They started a nursing program. They've got one of only 3 accredited business schools in the state now. They're really trying to like get on the map academically. And a lot of these kids struggled like hell because they were first-gen college students, recruited to go there to play, and literally had no clue how to study or form study habits. I had a kid, I shouldn't call him a kid, but that's what he was to me, all 6 feet, 11 inches of him, who was dyslexic, didn't pass any grade through school. They just kept promoting him to get him out of their classroom, and was not diagnosed until his freshman year of college. He couldn't fucking read words. And I'm like, dude, you've memorized some words. I know you have. So I know, you know what I mean? And that's what he did. He literally went to, was it behavioral health or some shit like that? Found out he was dyslexic. So he just had to learn some shit, and bam, good to go. Right. But like, a lot of these kids aren't there to pursue academics, and that's okay. I get that. College is not for everybody, and it shouldn't have been sold as, go to college, get a degree, you're going to get a good job. Bullshit. I got 2. But I work at a goddamn car dealership.
That was sold after kind of the lie of, not the lie, but after deindustrialization and all those factory jobs go away, where you can kind of be an F up for a lot of your life. But there's bigger conversations we can get into about like
absolutely.
the factories. And I don't want to get into that because the main point that I have, and I wanted to have for the main part of the show, is that I don't think this kid is the villain.
Oh no, I agree with you. And like that, isn't that galling to see grown ass men getting angry at a 20-year-old kid for taking his own career into his own hands, trying to negotiate something better. And when he can't get it at Tennessee, he'll go somewhere else. That's literally the job market now.
Uber driver does.
If
I have a ride that's going to make him $4 and he sees it, and on his way to get me, there's another ride that's $7, he's going to take the $7 ride.
Yeah. What is constantly forced at us? Social media, dickheads on Fox News. If you don't like your job and you're not getting paid enough, you don't sit there and say you're worth more. You go find another higher paying job. That's what Nico fucking did.
He literally goes, "Are these the bootstraps?"
Yeah.
He literally did all the things that the system tells you to do. And then when he did them, his reward, and I think it has a lot to do with the university not telling the entire truth, because I think, and we don't even know this, they didn't want to pay him.
Yeah. Honestly,
because I think Nico is more like that kid at UNLV, where it's like, oh, we were never going to give you 1.5 million. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
This is a handshake deal. You don't really have an agent. These aren't the droids you're looking for. This is still being, they don't want agents in this with these kids right now.
No.
They want mom and dad. They want handshake deals. King of the Hill now is on YouTube. Somebody put these King of the Hill episodes up, right? And they're not the whole episode. It's about, if it's a 22-minute episode, it's about 18 minutes of it. And they had the episode where Joseph Redcorn is a top middle school quarterback at Tom Landry Middle. And there's a big signing day to see if he's going to go to the private school. The private school takes Dale out and they say, we're going to give you the school pest control contract. But of course, Joseph Redcorn wants to stay with his best friend Bobby at Tom Landry Middle. So on signing day, what happens? All the private school's there, and Tom Landry's there. Everybody's like worried, and Joseph says, well, I made my decision and I want to stay at Tom Landry. And then Dale goes, well, he's just a dumb kid and he's going to the private school.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the situation that we're seeing right now with all of this shit. Well, my daddy said, you know, they're going to follow where and handshake deals. Nobody. There was a time when this shit was real quiet, and it's like, look, if you keep making noise about this, we're going to leak a story to the press about that car you've been driving. We're going to take your parents' house away. We're going to do all this stuff that we gave you. We can take it away. They're still trying to do it, but now there's a repercussion.
Yeah.
And the repercussion is these kids can go public with it. The university still, in my opinion, has the power move because they can control a lot of narratives.
Mm-hmm.
And this kid's family isn't very media savvy, so they're just really quiet.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. We overturned with NIL, the system was overturned, right? The universities and the organization of the NCAA still have a lot of power because they have millions of dollars tied up in public relations. They pay a lot of people for spin.
Mm-hmm.
Nico's family doesn't have that.
Mm-mm.
But athletes now have the ability to get up and walk.
Yep.
Something they didn't have for almost 100 years, right? Go ahead and transfer, dude. You're going to lose a year of eligibility, right? Go ahead and transfer, kid. You're not going to have it as good there as you do here. You know, the grass isn't always greener. Now the kids can. They can get up and walk. Again, isn't this what we've been preaching as a society? I'm not saying us here, because I know us here, we did not do that. You know, we do not do that. But this is the world we live in. Why is this kid a bad guy now?
Because when
the only bad guy in this story is Nico's dad for naming his younger kid Matt.
The bad guy in the story, Mac, if there is a bad guy, is capitalism. And when I didn't even say capitalism because I'm not I know I can't get on the radio on Fox Sports.
Oh yeah.
And say Karl Marx said beep. No. But when I said we live in a system, it took the guy 2 seconds and he went, no. And he cut me off. He goes, I'm gonna cut you off right there.
Yeah. And
he cuts me off and he goes on to rah the system and belittle the person. And that's really what we have right now with a lot of these kids. It's we're going to belittle the person because they're greedy and they don't know any better. It's like, well, this kid can get benched tomorrow. There's transfers everywhere.
Yeah.
All it takes is one bad game.
Remember when they first set up the portal, right?
Mm-hmm.
They said they're going to do it during the bowl season because most teams are out of it by then. You know, they're getting ready for the following season. And this is a great time to do it. Then they're like, nope, we'll wait until after the season. And we're going to shorten it from 25 to 15 days. These kids should not have such a big opportunity to leave our institutions, right? And they're like, you know what? Better yet, we're going to shorten it to 10 days, but we'll add a second window in the spring. And they're like, no one's going to fucking transfer in the spring. Who the fuck transfers in the spring? And now they're realizing who indeed fucking transfers in the spring. All of Cal's running back room and Nico. Okay?
No one's
Apparently,
talking about Cal.
oh, dude, there's a lot more people talking about Cal. We'll get in that in a second.
Okay.
But all of Cal's running back room and the Iamaleava brothers are two very large groups of people that transferred in the spring. Okay.
Are they all Polynesian?
I don't believe so.
I think there's some Polynesians at Cal. Cal had a pretty good running back last year.
They had a lot of good running backs because the starter got hurt. He had a phenomenal 23. Was supposed to have a big 24, but he got hurt. But like Cal, because of all this disconnect with these NIL, the people that run the NIL and the boosters, other boosters wanting Ron Rivera to have full control of the Cal football program, which I don't know why you'd want to. He's like a 500 NFL head coach.
He's alumni.
Who gives a shit?
Cal, apparently. Don't give
Yeah, and I think that's fucking nuts.
I didn't do it.
Because I'm on one, Jason. I'm sleep deprived, and this whole thing fires me up. I hate hearing. This fucking drives me up the goddamn wall.
Because he was at Carolina. I forgot he was at Carolina.
Right?
That's right. Yeah.
We need an Ohio State guy. No, we fucking don't. I need somebody who can coach well, recruit well, and surround himself with other smart people. That's what I fucking need. I don't give a shit if he went here. If he went to Eastern Michigan and played on a gray field, I don't give a fuck. If he can coach and win national titles, that's what I fucking want. Can he beat Michigan? That's what I fucking want. Can he win the Big Ten? That's what I want. I don't give a fuck if he went to school in Columbus. I do not care. Well, we have a culture. No, you fucking don't. There's no such thing as a fucking collective culture at a college. You just want to win. That's what you want to do. Fuck. Well, Ron Rivera is a Cal guy. He understands what it's like to be here. What, to be a sub 500 program and the only fucking feather in your hat is a fucking game where the band ran on the field early and Aaron Rodgers? Like, fuck you, dude. If that's your culture sucks dick.
Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers. You're like, fuck, dude, from fucking Detroit.
Right? Like,
I can't even think of his name right now. What's the quarterback's name in Detroit?
Jared Goff?
Jared Goff, yeah. Sorry, I can't even think of. Sorry, Jared Goff. And I actually really like you.
I mean, he seems like a nice enough guy. But again, he played at Cal. All right?
The number one draft picks that have come out of Cal in the quarterback position are what? Goff, Rodgers. Joe Cap went to Canada. I don't even think he played if he played in the NFL, it was after his Canada stint. Steve Bratowski, I think he was a first-round draft pick in the 70s.
Yeah, man. I just I hate hearing, well, he's our guy. Who gives a shit? Bring in somebody. Like, this is not the regional game anymore. This is a fucking national business. If you want success on the field, fucking run it like that. Like, people pissed and moaned about Ryan Day and Ohio State spending $20 million for that squad last year. Dude, they found 6 teams that ponied up $30 million, and 4 of them didn't even make the fucking playoff. Okay, so,
but Ohio State is the Mac. To your point, Ohio State is the model. We'll get these guys here on 1-year deals. Will Howard is never going to throw a regular season pass without a starter being injured.
Sure, he will when he plays in the UFL next year.
Damn it.
Right? Or like you said, Will Howard will somebody will pick him up as an undrafted free agent, because I think you're fucking nuts if you burn a pick on Will Howard. I love Will Howard. I thought he was the right man for the job last year, even after Oregon. You know, like, he didn't pony up or blame anybody else. He was like, dude, I fucked up at the end of that game. You know? And he took his lumps after the Michigan game. And then look what he did. Right? Newry, I don't know Trent Alexander-Arnold on a free transfer. One, from what I know about the transfer windows in European football, like, you shouldn't be, if you're the losing team, you should not be sending anybody away for free. You should be getting something for it, especially if you're moving from a small team to a big team. But, you know, the thing, it dumbfounds me where this is the system we're in now. We're here now, whether we like it or not. I hate it. And not because I think players shouldn't get paid. You know, you guys know I want them to, but we saw the writing on the wall. If you had two brain cells just bouncing around your head, you could see this is where college football and college sports is going. Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, football led the rest of the athletic department by the nose into this. It wasn't a willing thing between football and basketball. Mm-mm. Football drug the rest of college sports into this. Okay? If you can see it coming, and I'd like to think we're smart guys, but we're not in any position to influence thinking into any of this. But if we could see this happening, how are people that are much smarter than us just like, yeah, I don't see it, man. I don't. Student athletes. Right?
I think they see it. I think it's just part of. I think if you see the world through the lens of good guys and bad guys, then it's always going to be character flaws, and it's never going to be, well, this is just the way capitalism functions. Like, why would you be surprised? And this is what all of you want. This is unregulated as fuck capitalism.
Dude, this is China special economic zone type of capitalism.
This is Gilded Age,
right? This is Apple.
This is fingers for the machines.
Yes, capitalism. This is Apple going willingly to Shanghai, and they're like, I can pay. What's the least I have to pay these people? Oh, 4 cents for the day. Oh!
What other color screen can we make?
Yeah, like this is that level.
An iPod, yay, dude. That's what you're seeing. Because guess what? You have more than we've ever had. We have young people who understand, and their parents understand, that there is no future. There is no job you're going to work at for 20 years. These tech companies come and go.
And the ones that do last, like you said, they're not offering pensions, bro.
No.
Oh, so you want to retire? You take your money.
Yeah.
You take your money and you put it into something that accrues money over time.
And better hope that the dickhead in chief doesn't play tariff baseball with the stock market.
Russian roulette.
It's like the scene with the deer hunter.
Yeah. So I'm going to institute a 300% tariff on China.
Can someone make that meme with the scene in the end of the Deer Hunter where Christopher Walken accidentally blows off his head?
Yeah.
But the gun is the tariff.
Yeah, it's just tariff. And Walken's head, it's just U.S. economic system.
It's just like seriously, what do people think this is going to be? Venture capital, back to what we said last week in the main hour of the show, they're loving this.
Well, dude,
because now we can really dismantle the university because the mask is off.
Yes.
Now let's start talking about why these things are diploma mills and no one's really learning.
Dude, this is the thing. All these college football traditionalists that are poo-pooing and calling Nico and his family pieces of shit. They're the ones that are going to bitch the most at first until this venture capital backed super league happens and they see their alma maters raking in record profit. Right? Academics, what the fuck is that? The football team. Yeah, exactly, Tony. What is this pension you speak of? A pension?
Yeah, is that a Spanish word?
Is that an Italian? What's a pension?
Can I get that on a pizza?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, no.
Is that a Latin dish? Is it wrapped in it? Is it wrapped in a tortilla?
This is what I was talking about, and I'm expanding on. I fucked up trying to read my intro yesterday because I did the show remotely, but I'm expanding on what we were talking about with the Andrew Tate show, because I was having this conversation with Bert Cooper the other day, and he had said something that I found really interesting. He goes, "Young people, instead of fighting for socialism, were sold a bill of goods and decided to take their chances with online influencer fame."
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that fall into that because, you're online and you're constantly influencing all the time
Yeah.
with your posts and getting likes. So why not, take it one step further?
Well, Jason,
And
you
as
said
that
it
has,
best. This type of thing only happens in a place where there's a vacuum.
yeah,
And I'm going to go back and watch that because I unfortunately decided to pick up a book about the Weimar Republic.
Mhm.
And each chapter is 1 year in the Republic. And I'm like, bro, why traveling just right down the same road here, guys? It's not pretty, and you're like, when guys like Andrew Tate, who have literally before 5 years ago, no one knew who the fuck he was.
pretty
Great.
much.
You are a championship kickboxer. Not trying to fucking belittle that fact because kickboxing's nuts. But
But
nobody fucking watches kickboxing except
not
Thai
in the U.
people.
Yeah, not in the U.S.
Right? Not in the UK. Sorry, dude. Right? But he filled this vacuum
Mhm.
of, the lack of masculinity or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? And honestly, man, like, it drives me nuts when I see guys are like, well, women just want to be left alone. No, you want to know what they don't want is for you to come up and like rub your dick on her ass when she's just trying to get a drink at the bar. That's what she doesn't want. And if you're not a douche, maybe she will talk to you. But like, he fills this vacuum that is stirred and emptied out by, media, period. Because like, dude, you're literally seeing flip-flops from the Washington Post. Like, hey, you want to save money? Eat at home. What's an article that came out this week? Fucking younger generation is killing American business because they refuse to eat out at lunch. Like, make up your fucking mind, bro. It's like, we're not creating these vacuums. We're allowing media to do it. And it's being filled by dickheads like the five-head Charlie Kirk, Andrew Tate, fucking Ben Shapiro. Like,
To some degree, a small degree, even Joe Rogan, the Andrew Schultz's. Look, in writing the piece and thinking about that, even deeper, the idea that you have to have a certain amount of financial success to have value in the world really mutes the way kids even can try to understand what a successful job or life may look like, because it really always boils down to how you can present it to people. And we don't have to get into a whole conversation. I hopefully this week or next week, Damage Magazine's coming out. I wrote a what I think is a cool article about steroids in young people, which really talks about a crisis of loneliness less than it is about masculinity, and where we are with the internet, and how young people operate in something that they've been in since they were zygotes.
Yeah.
In a sonogram picture on social media to be liked. Like, we really have to think about that. Sean Moon made a comment about, are all interactions going to be commodified one day? I'm like, what do you mean one day?
Yeah.
If you go out with your friends and you guys have dinner, back in the day, either you threw your money in if you had cash on you, or if you didn't have any money, because there's always that guy that didn't, okay, I got it, get me next time. That's just how friendship worked. Now,
or you told that bitch when you're eating your steak, you get a hot dog.
Yeah, you do get to control. You should, at least.
Yeah, it's like, last 3 times you've left your wallet at home, I'm done. Eat your hot dog and shut up. No, you don't get ketchup. Eat it. You just
But what do you do now, Mac, when you go out with your friend? You pull out your wallet. Okay, I'll Venmo you. I'll Cash App you. That means that this relationship now is really not the same. There's no trust built. It's like, well, I feel like I have to make this payment to you.
Yeah.
Because that's the transaction that happened. Before, it's just, we just go out and maybe I'll get it and then you'll get it next time. That's what I thought that's what friends do.
And you got to think, when you Venmo your buddy money, Venmo's getting their cut too.
Yep.
And that's the sad thing. Like, the internet, which went from something like, whenever we talk about the internet, like, I think, Dolomite. That's about the only laying down I do these days. There's not a lot of pipe laying in Macland right now. But you know, whenever I think about the internet, I just think like Bane taunting Batman before he broke his back in the last movie, the Christopher Nolan movie. Like, the internet, I was born into it. You nearly adopted it. You know, and it's like, fuck.
I wish I would have used that quote. I actually used because I'm old, so I open and close the piece with Videodrome quotes. And I wanted to call the piece Celebrity Skin, the Hole song, if you know the band Hole, because I used the Long Live the New Flesh, because I feel like there is a second life that people have in the internet, and you really get it with like steroids and young people, to the point where if you've been around young people that or anyone that lifts weights seriously, that juices, you get really bad acne. And when you flex, or even if you're lifting to failure, you're gonna pop pimples on yourself and bleed. It's pretty gross.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
And Sam Sulek, who competed in his first competition, was posing, and he's maybe one of the biggest of these steroid influencers. He doesn't talk about his steroid use, but it's very obvious he's on steroids. He's just he didn't tan enough because it was his first competition, so you can just see just covered in pimples. But that kind of gets into like the idea that you have this other skin, because you can throw a filter on there and you can't really see the pimples.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get tattoos and you can't really see how destroyed you've gotten. You know, no one has to see that. Taking something like Trenbolone, which is not designed for human consumption, has made people, you know, suicidally depressed, and has destroyed their ability to produce testosterone after they get off. And then we're talking about people in their mid-20s, when semen should be leaking out of your fingers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're fucking shooting dust and you're like 24.
You're like, 24. These guys are taking TRT replacement in their early 20s.
See, and that's nuts to me, because like you and I, we have a combined age almost 90. We're still shooting loads, not often, but they're potent when they come.
They fly out. Yeah. You
All right.
Hold one in there for a couple days. It's gonna hit you somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Charles goes, you're absolutely right. Like, why do my friends need to know what I paid with Venmo or what I sent to somebody?
Because it makes you want to use it, because now you want to be cute but that's what I'm saying. It's this interactive thing that makes friendship commodifiable. And that's when Sean goes, we're going to get, no, it's not about we're going to get to, we've been there. We've been there for a minute. And it's not even about us not understanding it. It's sometimes it's like the fish going, what's water? It really is. And that's what Nico Iamaleava is about. It's about being the fish and trying to tell people how's the water. And all of the sports pundits, all of the universities are going, what's water?
Yeah.
And water is capitalism at this point. So,
you know, the sad thing is like the universities in the system were like sharks in that water, and athletes were just chum. And now, you know, athletes aren't chum anymore. They're like just like smaller sharks. And now they're pissed. You know, it's like the athletes can't believe the universities, because the universities used to piss on them and they'd be like, hey guys, it's just rain. That's all it is. It's just rain. You know? But now they can't do that, you know? And I think for overall, it's a net positive. Athletes are finally being compensated for work. And that's what it is. It's work. If you don't believe these kids are putting in 40 fucking hours a week, you're high, right? But we should have set up. And when I say we, again, everybody, it's the royal we. You know, we should have set up something, one, to alleviate issues that are going to arise from something like this with Nico's family, right? Maybe his dad got involved in negotiations with Tennessee. He's looking out for his fucking kid, man. I get it. If my daughter could spin her art into millions of dollars right now, you're goddamn right I'm going to help her out. you know? But I also told her that she won't get famous until she's dead or cuts off her ear. But
you know what it causes? It causes young people to have a quarter life crisis where if they go to school like they're supposed to, Mac talked about being around a bunch of first generation college students. That means a lot of people, I'm going to school to major in business, especially if you're a black kid, right? What the fuck does that mean? What is it going to get? Now you could be the manager at a enterprise rental car.
Yeah.
Like seriously. But, and I say that not to belittle these young people. I say that because when you are done with school and maybe you're going to get into teaching, the first thing everyone's going to tell you is there's no money in that.
Yeah. Every time.
And old people our age are going to talk about, well, there's a joy in doing what you love. And the first thing I tell everybody about doing what you love is I do what I've loved and I've done what I've loved for the majority of my life. And I don't say that in any kind of braggadocious way. I say that because I'm really bad at not doing what I love. Like I'm bad at it. I'm really, really bad at it.
It's like, bitch, I was a musician and now I'm a podcaster. Okay. Like
that should tell you that I am unhirable. I talk about having so many jobs because I'm bad at it. Right. But doing what I love is labor intensive. If I really look into how much money I'm making, which isn't even that much, it's probably like $1 an hour. And touring was probably worse. But I did what I loved and I worked every freaking day. If you go into teaching, let's say, do what you love, you never work a day, you're going to be, it's going to be hard work.
When I hear that line, I'm just like, that's a line from a comedy called Letterkenny. Okay. It's said to me by Jared Kiso to elicit a laugh. That's it. Whenever somebody in the real world goes, do what you love, you never work a day in your life, I'm like, dude, get fucked.
Get fucked.
100%. I work a job where my hours are capped at 44 hours, 59 minutes. I cannot break that. I'm on Wednesday. I'm at 31 hours already. So I'm going to be sent home at some point on Friday early, which is going to leave more work for me on Monday. Right? Oh, dude, Tony. Oh my gosh. My favorite professor, my mentor, is a guy named Anthony Johnson, Russian history scholar, focuses mostly in Siberia, believe it or not, which is a weird kind of special emphasis on Russian history, but he loves it. He got his undergrad at Pembroke. He came back because his mentor, my former advisor, Bruce DeHart, was there. So Tony starts adjuncting, and it was the summer between my sophomore and junior year. And I'm taking English courses because I'm knocking out 2 degrees. I'm trying to get done as quick as I can. And I see Bruce DeHart, who, keep in mind, he's like 5'3", maybe weighed 110 pounds. Always had his dog with him. And at our history department, if you saw somebody with a solo cup, it's an adult beverage. And sometimes you saw them during class and sometimes you didn't, but it made it fun. And I see Bruce DeHart with a solo cup, and he's walking down the stairs with his dog, and he's just flustered as shit. I'm taking like a 2-hour English course, so we get breaks after the first hour, and I'm outside smoking a cigarette. And I was like, Dr. DeHart, what the hell's going on, man? And he's like, I had to tell Anthony, Dr. Johnson, that I had to fire him from his job so he could re-interview for the same position, because that's what they do to adjuncts at Pembroke. They have to re-interview for their positions every 364 days. The way we treat education is just abhorrent. And why we don't put more emphasis on education. Well, I mean, I know the why. Like we see these, I mean, let's face it, the tech bros, like we were talking about a couple weeks ago, started a school for 14 people, right? They want to be able to control what kids are taught because they don't want kids actually being aware of the world in which they live. I know a lot of conservatives feel that way about teachers. I mean, I've met some shitty teachers, right?
Sure.
But for most of my life, I had phenomenal people that were doing the best that they could, you know, to make sure I knew what I needed to know. You know, I did that when I subbed. Oh, I talked about Black history to a school and classes that were 80% African American, and that made one white student's parent uncomfortable, and now you won't have me back. Fuck me. No wonder Marjorie Taylor Greene got elected to Congress, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, I imagine there's probably some professors that, like, Nico comes into class at UCLA. That professor that makes like $52,000 a year just looks at Nico and is like, "Fuck you, man, get out. Just get out of my class."
You know, I wrote about that. I wrote a thing recently, and it's up now in the crisis papers. If you're a TIR patron, the text only version is free.
Plug
But
that shit. Plug that shit.
right, I have to. If every $4, you know, means a lot. But because I refuse to have a Substack, I'm not going to have another service, which probably hurts me in the long run. But
dude, I'm telling you right now, I had a Substack for 2 years, and I was writing profusely, just a couple articles a day. I would do like kind of a meandering, you know, something weird happened in, you know, that day. So I freaking thought I should write about it. I had like 500 people that would read my shit because I was like, I'm trying to get people in, so I'm not gonna like put it behind a paywall, you know, off the jump. But like 4 paying people.
Yeah, I see people's Substack numbers and because I know them personally, they'll be like, "Dude, I got like 500 or 5,000 subscribers." I was like, "Oh wow, damn, you must be bringing in a nice chunk of change." He's like, "No, like less than a third of that pay."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Look, if you're a patron, I'll do all this stuff, and also other guys in TIR are going to start writing. They just, you know, I can't afford to pay them a lot of money because no one's really buying these from me. So, but the point is,
don't worry, I'll write something and then the opening a headline just to be like, from the lone white guy in the group, you know.
Oh no, it's Kuba actually goes, "Jason, can I publish something in the crisis papers?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "It's going to be a manifesto of sorts." I was like, "Okay, oh my God, whatever you want to do it, Coop. You know, it's all good with me." But
my first paper will be like, why Jason should hang dong.
And that's the one everyone's going to want to buy, right?
Yep.
all this shit that I've been like, you know, no, it's the dong one. It was the one we wanted.
Hey, Mr. Miles. Hey, you can just call me Jason. All right, hey Jason. So, did you read the article about your dong? Man, this is like a live show. We put a lot into this. Yeah, it was great, dude. But like, this is Q&A, so I'm asking you a question. You got to give me an answer, dude. So when are we gonna see it?
So,
no, you're not. Oh, this is horse shit, man.
I want to bring something up because you said that. I think it was this show. I'm pretty sure it was this show where we said we were going to fuck with Ben Burgess.
Yes,
and say he had a big dick. Okay, so it was this show. A handful of people have done it, and I haven't said anything to him. Right? So we get to San Francisco. It's a small room for the guys that were there that were watching the show. They'll tell you it was a small room. If you were there, you my kid was there, my brother was there, Bitter Lake, most of the people in the band showed up. One guy couldn't make it, sadly. And then other people we didn't know were there, right? But nobody that was in on that particular joke, because I was really hoping someone would say something. I think maybe because the seriousness of the conversation, no one wanted to ask that kind of question. So it's dawning on me that he doesn't know. And I think he's weirdly irritated by some people saying he's got a big dick because it's coming out of nowhere. Right. And so we go to
That's great.
So I think I told you this before. I've definitely said this on the show. A white family took me in at one point, and their middle son and I are really, really tight. And that's my brother Joel. And so he wanted to come, but he got his days confused, and he just started a job at a new restaurant. He used to manage restaurants, and he's now serving at a very high-end restaurant that I am not allowed to say what it's called in San Francisco. And so a friend of Ben and I's says, I'll take you guys to your brother's restaurant. And I'm like, I looked at the menu prices. You're not taking us. And she's like, no. I'm going to take you to the restaurant. I'm like, no. You can't take us to the restaurant. So this goes on for a while, Mac. And finally she's like, just stop being I think she told me to stop being a pussy. I believe that's what she said. Oh. And so I said, yeah. I mean, this woman and I dated. And so I was like, okay, fine. She goes, it's my treat. I haven't seen you guys in forever. It's fine. Okay. So we go to the restaurant after the show, and I don't tell anybody. So usually after the show, I hang out with my kids, my brother. I haven't seen my brother in forever, so I was going to hang out with him, my other brother. No. I'm like, we're going to this restaurant. I don't want you guys to go. It's stupid expensive. And you have to have reservations. You can't even get in without reservations.
Oh, very hoity-toity.
Oh, do we walk in the door? And San Francisco is not Los Angeles by any stretch of the imagination. Not that there's ugly people in the city. It's just not LA. You go to LA and like fancy places like this, everyone's beautiful. San Francisco, not so much. But this place, everybody was fucking beautiful. I've never been in somewhere in San Francisco with that many beautiful people. I was like, oh, wow, did you guys get bussed in?
Yeah, Jason walks in some skinny jeans and a fucking Nirvana shirt, and he's just like, well, I'm vastly underdressed for this.
Better than that, a Steely Dan shirt.
There we go. That's even worse.
A Steely Dan shirt. So we're in there, and I have all these bags. My daughter had given me stuff. I have a backpack because I'm carrying my laptop. And my brother whispers, that's my brother and his friends. Oh, okay, so they take our bags, and we'll take these bags for you. We'll put these over here. We'll take it. Don't worry. Here's your table. Joel just told us that you're his brother. Welcome. And so we're getting a great treatment. He goes and tells the chef, Mac, my brother and his friends are here. The chef goes, say no more, and starts bringing out special entrees that aren't on the, not entree, but like little tasty things that aren't on the menu. This is the chef's specialty. This is seasonal, blah, blah, blah. What? Okay, so we don't know what to eat. Homegirl's a vegetarian. Me and Ben can barely read the menu. And she starts ordering. We're just like, fine, you order. We don't. Everything on this menu and it's family style. It's too expensive for us. She's ordering, food's coming out. The chef's coming out randomly, dropping stuff to the table. My brother's, the place is busy.
Yeah.
He comes by randomly, fucking shoots the shit with us. We're eating. They bring out this bread, Mac. Homegirl goes, because she looks on the menu, she goes, oh, bread, I want bread, right? And nothing is just like bread and butter, right? So the bread is cut all fucking cute, and butter is like scooped in this cool way that I've never seen butter scooped before. And like, this is house-made butter and our blah, blah, blah bread. Or whatever. So we're all talking, and I take a little.
Joel's gonna listen to this and be like, "Blah blah blah, bread, huh?" Last time I do this shit for him.
If you're listening, Joel, you know I love you. I'm not shitting on the bread. I did tell him. Anyway, so I take a piece of the bread, Mac, and I'm not fucking with you. It is the best butter. I don't know what they put in the butter, but the explosion of flavors in my mouth. I was like, this is really good. I'm going to be quiet about it because I don't want them to know.
Because you don't want to share. I get it.
Because I don't want to share,
mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So Ben is talking to homegirl. We're all talking. He's looking at her. He takes the bread, puts a little butter on there. And I saw Ben, and he goes, yeah, I tried it. And I went, this is good. I said, no, that's not the sound you made. This is literally what you did. He takes the bread, puts a little butter on it, and he goes, oh! Like he busted a nut, right?
Ben's just like,
oh, fuck.
Hits your other friend in the knee. She's like, what the fuck?
Hey, Mac, the bread was like this rectangle cube, right? Ben cuts a big ass piece of bread. He starts buttering every side of it. The top of it, the bottom of that
Dude,
bitch.
I kid you not. One of a guy, he's not a friend. Like, he's more like he's a dude I served with, right? Believe it or not, he is a chef in San Francisco now.
Oh, no shit.
He married up, way up. She's got a ton of money. So he was just like, she let me pursue my dream, which was going to culinary school, getting my own kitchen, right? So she supported his ass throughout. Oh, Kush, nicely done. I like good wordplay. But he gave me a buzz about, like, we were in a big group chat, but he sent me just a straight DM, and he's like, dude, what's going on, man? How you been? So you're shooting the shit. And like, I love food. I think you guys know that. I love the process of creating it and what goes into a dish, you know. So I had just reread Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, no shit.
And, you know, at the end of the book, he talks about this weird dude that any restaurant he went to, he always brought with him because he made the best bread, like, ever. And like, literally, I think his name was like Tommy, real name unknown. Like, that's how we referred to him in the book, because no one ever really knew this guy's fucking name. Right. So I was talking to this guy, and I was like, is it true that like the best bread is made by the weirdest people? And he's like, dude, pastry chefs, bread people, butter people are absolutely insane. And the crazier they are, the better their shit is. So the person that made that butter probably just checked out of like a mental institute.
I
made
believe
you
that.
the best butter that you've ever had in your life.
I believe everything. My dude, my brother goes, Jay, it was really hard to get this job. Most of the staff has been here for over 10 years. I was like, really? And a serving job?
Yeah, man.
He's like, yeah, you don't understand this place, blah, blah, blah. So at the end of the meal's done, we've literally eaten everything, right? We've left nothing. And it was good. It was really good. And so a waitress comes and goes, you guys thinking about dessert? I'm like, no, let's go home. And homegirl goes, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, fuck, man. I know you got a raise, but it's not like, I don't know who you thought you were.
This isn't Le French Bistro money that you got the raise.
Yeah,
you know,
like, I don't want your son now to have no shoes for school because mom wanted to fucking taste the good life one night, right?
She's sitting there eating like whatever you were eating for dessert. She's like, little Jimmy's gonna just have to get over not having a birthday this year.
Mac. They had a thing on the menu. The only thing I could read on the menu, it said something donuts, right? And I go, what's the donuts? And like, oh, it's a savory donut with blah 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 blah. It was like Charlie Brown's teacher. And they brought the donuts out, and it was, but they go, but it's a beignet. And I'm like, I love beignets. And so again, everything we ate was delicious. So dessert comes, and they have 3 things for dessert. That's it, just 3 things. And homegirl looks at the menu. She goes, let's just get all 3. We're like, oh, God. Okay. So instead of bringing out 3 things, they bring out like 5. Because again, my brother's like, my brother's here. Here's some seasonal things that are on the menu. Everything we tasted was amazing. And it was one of those, you're looking over at your friend to see, you're going to stick your spoon back in there, huh? That last bite wasn't enough for you.
Yeah.
It's turning into like, I can't have you eat this ice cream because I've never had ice cream that tasted so soft and angelic.
It's like they reach in and you're like, you pull that back, it's gonna be a nub. I promise you that.
Don't you dare enjoy this food more than me. I think Ben said something along the lines of, the real sin is the fact that rich people actually eat like this regularly.
Dude, you and I have to work for 4 months just to get the main entree there, you know? And
it was stupid expensive. And here is where being food drunk at a stupid expensive place could have been really bad. And I preface this by saying, Mac, and this is where you're going to enjoy yourself. And I hope this story puts you in a better mood. I want this story to put you in a better mood. And I want you to make fun of me as I tell you this story.
I'm
It's going
probably
to
going
put you in a better mood. I'm not from San Francisco. I was born in Oakland, grew up in a city called Richmond, California. But as a Bay Area native, I've been going to San Francisco ever since my mom let me leave the house and I could save lunch money. When I was a kid, it was $4 round trip from the Richmond BART station, which is our subway system, to downtown San Francisco. And I would go downtown and just get lost. I would walk around the city. It's only 7 square miles.
Yeah, it's not big.
Walk around the whole place, get lost. And if I could find my way back to a train station home, winner. Right? Because there was 2 other train stations after that or before that, and it was about the same price. So if I had $5, I could eat. There was a Blondie's. I could eat and get home for $5 and have an adventure in San Francisco. So I've been going there for a long time. Where this restaurant was and where I was staying, I wasn't exactly sure how far it was, but I was like, nah, I'll walk back home. And so homegirl lives in the East Bay. She's like, I'm taking an Uber back. And so she takes a car back home, and I look over at Ben. I'm like, oh, you're going to take an Uber back? Because he's staying at a different side of San Francisco than me. He goes, I didn't get my steps in. I'll walk with you back to your hotel. I was like, oh, cool. So we start walking. And again, San Francisco's small, 7 square miles. So you can go from sugar to shit pretty quick in San Francisco. I don't realize it, because I'm having this nostalgic trip down memory lane. I just saw my family, who I hadn't seen in a long time. This is my first time up in the Bay Area all year. I've been up all year.
Yeah, and then you got Ben there. You just had an event, man. You're
high. There's a high, right? The event went better than we thought it was going to go. There's a high. So we're walking, and we see City Hall. And City Hall, like most City Halls, it's a nice looking building. I was like, dude, this City Hall looks so great. And it was like a nice evening. There were stars out. Then we see the Bill Graham Auditorium. I used to work there. I'm like, oh, there's the Bill Graham. We're in Civic Center. And the only way to get back to my hotel is to walk through some of the more dangerous parts of this city. Oh my God. Oh my God. I look over at Ben and he's like, yep. What? And I look to my left. I see the Tenderloin. We can walk through it. It's not going to be better. Or we can walk through the dope spots to Market Street and try to walk down Market. Or we can walk back up these massive hills and try to then basically conquer Everest to get to Chinatown. And I'm like, well, we got to walk through it. And as we're walking, and Mac, I'm not going to lie. Everyone listening, I'm not going to lie. I was scared because I had bags of stuff. My daughter got me some little gifts. Again, I had my laptop on me. And I look over at my good friend who's holding his MacBook Pro in his hand.
Oh, Ben.
It's just he's cradling it in his arms.
This is the night Jason's like, well, I've been clean for 40-something years. What's a little heroin now, huh?
Nuri Yank is saying what was going through my mind. Screw it. I'm fighting junkies rather than walking up that hill. Nuri, we weren't going to, hey, I think I could have made that hill. I'm in pretty good shape right now, and I'm not shitting on my friend. It's just you don't slap a hill like that on a person that's not ready for it. It goes like this.
Bro, San Francisco's hills are something you train for. You don't get up one day and you're like, you know what? I'm going to go visit San Francisco and I'm going to walk. No, fuck you, dude. No.
Fuck right off. You are not walking up Powell Street.
January 1st, you wake up and you're like, by December, I'll have the cardiovascular ability to walk around San Francisco. Okay, that's what you do. You train for that shit. You don't wake up and say, I'm running a marathon. You don't do that. You train for it. San Francisco's the same fucking way.
There was no way we were going to... Ben would have looked over at me as he's crawling up and would have been like, and how much further?
Ben, we've been going for 6 minutes, dude. Like, we're not...
But we could have at least said F it and got an Uber because it would have been chill. Now, the reason he's holding his laptop. This was my thinking. If you put it in my bag, we're going to bring attention to ourselves. Because there's people, the streets, there's quite a few people out. But everybody's a buyer and a seller at this hour.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no random citizens walking around on a Thursday night. And I was like, what time is it? He's like, it's midnight. Every Judgment Night scenario you could ask yourself for, I put myself in. And now I feel like I put my friend in. So my defenses are up, as anybody's would be. And I'm like, okay, when we get past this, put your laptop in my bag. But we have to get past this. So we're just going to walk cool. And I feel like Richard Pryor in Silver Streak when he's putting shoe polish on Gene Wilder. Yeah, Jack. What it is, what it be, what it do, what it didn't.
Ben's doing a lot of head nods. Like,
Ben, he's got this laptop. All I can see is the shine. The shine from the MacBook Pro is just bouncing off the moonlight. I got 2 bags of shit, and we have to walk through 2 hot spots. One is run by the Norteños, and one is a Negro hot spot, but they're hot. We walk through the first one, and a dude makes a double take at me. Like, what's in them bags? Keep walking cool. Maybe I'm walking too fast, right? I'm like, shit. We get to this one corner, Mac, that I don't want to be at. Because again, there's only 2 ways we can go. If we went through the tender, I think we would have got fucked up. We went through the Tenderloin. I was like, if we can make it through this one corner, there's a check cashing place. If we can pass this check cashing place, we should be cool. As we approach the check cashing place, there's hella cats out front. Fuck. Moonlight shining off the MacBook. Fuck. Then some white dude is barreling down the sidewalk on a bike, like a BMX bike, with a dog on one of them rope homeless leashes. And he's spun out of his mind, screaming commands at the dog that no dog would understand. They were very specific directions. He's like, no, you must turn left. You have to slow down and turn left. No.
oh, man.
And Ben is so kind of blown away by the specificity of these directions. He stopped. We both kind of all watched this guy who seemed very concerned that the dog wasn't listening.
He's yelling at the dog like I yell at my daughter when I'm like with her while she's driving. No, God.
That's exactly what it said. He was like, no, you must go left and slow down. And so we get past the spot. Ben shoved that laptop in. I was trying to put it in my backpack. He just grabbed one of my grocery bags that had full of shit and just threw this shit in there. We walked from one end of the city to the other,
God.
unscathed. Most of that walk holding a MacBook Pro, shining, glistening in the moonlight.
It's not even plugged up, but the Apple on it somehow glowing, you know?
I'm like, what the Ben goes, I'm like, oh, we're almost there. He goes, okay, I'm gonna order a car. I said, did you get your 10,000 steps in? He's like, dude, we passed that shit up like a mile and a half ago. As soon as I get to my hotel, his Uber driver pulled up. He gets in his car, takes off. I still haven't seen it. I still haven't physically seen him since then. And
you terrified him. He doesn't want to know. He's like, do I need to go out with Jason in public again?
I get in my hotel. I text homegirl, thank you again for the meal, and I tell her what happened. And I think she's asleep. And I believe I texted Ben. I'm pretty sure I texted Ben. I was like, I don't know whose God protected us, but there's no way we should have made it without somebody fucking us up. Like the rule book says, oh, we got to fuck you guys up.
Oh, yeah. Like, dude, I mean, you're marks. You know what I mean? Like, you're total marks. Or
there's nothing about us that looks tough.
Or you threw them off so much, right? They're like that group outside the check cashing store is like, look at these motherfuckers. Right and like the one dude in the back of the group, he's just kind of like there. He doesn't say much, but he's like, yo, but exposed Apple laptop. He's got a bunch of bags. They got some shit in there and they're just strolling through here. And then there was another guy like, shit, you're probably right, dude. Yeah.
Cops.
Yeah, or that. Man, cops are just not imaginative with their paid anymore. That's right. The god of the heavenly butter.
Dude, I would never. Now, I've walked at night in San Francisco, definitely. But to walk at night in any major metropolitan area in 2025 with everything exposed, the rule book says you got to get fucked up.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I might have stopped my car if I was driving past you just to beat you up and take your like with my buddy, I'm like, hold on a second. You see this shit? Dude, we've got to rob them. You've never broken a law in your life. I know, but tonight's the night. Let's go.
I told this to my brother, right? Because the next day I'm sending everybody I love you messages, right? I love you. I love you.
I just saw my life flash before my eyes. I have to do this.
I knew I was gonna have to fight somebody off with a knife. I was like, somebody's gonna pull a knife on us and try to get us for this bullshit because everybody's buying dope and pussy at this hour, right? That's it.
Or maybe both at the same time, which
a lot of that too. Don't get it twisted. Don't ever get it twisted.
Have you really sucked dick? And oh god, you can suck dick and inject at the same time.
Just don't get the open sores on it, right?
That's just a herpy. Don't worry about that. Dude. What? A herpy? Yeah,
we saw so much. There was a point we passed the check cashing place. Ben puts the laptop in the bag and we're walking. And I'm gonna be so honest about everything right now. And a cop rolls by. My first thought was,
the cop stops Jason is like, so where'd you steal all that from, huh?
Had he said that, I would have hugged him and been like, can you just drive me back to my hotel?
Please take me home.
He looks over, they look over, and they kind of like, and they just, they're fine. They're just buying drugs. No, we're not.
Sir, I see your hands are full, but don't leave your needles out on the street, all right?
Yeah. You guys need some Narcan? No, we need a police escort out of fucking Narnia
Yeah. Can you just arrest me and then just take me to my hotel? What?
Like, I hate people that are like, oh, cops are bastards. It's like, have you ever walked through the Judgment Night part of San Francisco holding electronic devices in your hand?
Okay,
Like
and
a fucking waiter with
in my defense, I try not to carry electronics with me at all, including my phone. Because I hate having people like have the ability to get a hold of me whenever they want. Because some days I'm just like, I don't want to talk to any of you motherfuckers. I liked it better when I had a landline. Because I could just take that bitch off the hook. No one's bothering me today. Cell phone, though. Fuck me if that thing doesn't vibrate, because I never have the ringer on. You know, just and I have 20 fucking sports apps. So one thing happens.
everything. Yeah.
Like you'd think fucking the Queen Mia herself was sitting on it, 10 years ago to do a fucking scene for a video. No. Fuck.
It's so this is how everything got topped off. I got to see my kid the next day, which is pretty fucking awesome. My little guy.
Yeah, always a good day.
Always a good day. And then I had an interview on Saturday. I was being interviewed, and my brother told me I could use his place. He goes, "You can come over to my apartment." Hanging out with him was I haven't hung out with him in fucking years, man.
And by apartment, he means the 12 by 12 foot storage area that they're charging him $1,500 for.
It's a studio in a nice building. But actually I used to live in, and he lived in before too when he was married. So I do the interview, and a buddy of mine from high school also works in San Francisco. And I remembered he worked at a high-end clothing store. He's been working retail ever since we were kids. And he's moved up the ranks, if you will. And he goes, yeah, Jay, I'm at Hermes. Come holler. Okay. I get done talking to my brother. I was like, hey, how far is Hermes from here? And he goes, oh, just walk down Geary and then hit Grant where and my car was parked over there because I stayed in Chinatown. I was like, oh, perfect. Again, I don't think I'm dressed well, but I'm just going to say hi to my friend. And I don't know, it's like appointment only. Like they won't let you in randomly. And so there's an Asian family in front of me. And I didn't realize they were like in line. None of this. I'm just there to say hi. And so there's a black security guard. He's, yes. Hey, I just wanted to get in there, and can I go? Who are you here to see? You need an appointment. And he's like, hand out.
Oh, go, fuck you, bro.
And I'm like this. Hold on. I'm like this. I just want to say what's up to Antoine. Oh, you know Antoine? Why didn't you lead with that? Oh, fucking come in. Yeah. He's over there helping those people. Just go say hi. Go say hi. So my buddy he's looks impeccable.
Okay, yeah.
He's like 6'4", tall, skinny black dude. Still got hair, and it's just got this suit on that just looks fucking perfect. And I see him, and I'm like, I'm happy. Like, oh, look at Twine. It looks fucking great. And I see him. He's like, Jay, what the fuck, man? This is and he's in front of customers at Hermes. He walks over. He tells the ladies, one moment. Walks over, gives me a great big hug. Jay, you got a minute? Yep. Okay. Let me finish up with this, and we'll talk. Okay. And he goes over, and he's selling some like piece of jewelry that looks more than either one of us can afford.
Yeah.
And then the other workers escort me over to the seating area. And I'm sitting down, patiently waiting. And then a very attractive young woman comes out with a gold platter and a glass of champagne. And she goes, this is courtesy of Antoine while you wait. I haven't had a drink of alcohol in over 30 years because I don't drink. And I said, I don't know I'm still on a kind of a high that me and Ben walk from one end of San Francisco to the other. I don't know when this is going to happen to me again. So I'm going to drink champagne. Why not? And I'm sitting there and we have the TIR chat. So I'm like, I'm in Hermes drinking complimentary champagne. And I don't know what to do. I don't know how to act. I don't know. Do I cross my legs? Do I stand up when I drink it? Do I have my pinky out? What do I do? And so eventually my buddy walks over because these sales take some time. And everyone that's in the store isn't just browsing.
Yeah.
They're there to speak with a particular salesperson. And so my buddy finally wraps up the sale and he goes, Jay, come with me upstairs. It's like a little office. I'm like, oh, dude, this is fucking dope. And he goes, I'm one of like 6 niggas in the world. He's black. He's talking like this, right? I'm one of like 6 niggas in the world, man, that makes these suits. I'm like, no shit. And then he takes me in his office and we bullshit for like a couple hours. And I had the greatest time, man, being back in the Bay Area. It's too expensive for me to live in. I do enjoy where I live in Mexico, but you know, I don't know if I'm sure you feel the same way whenever you see your friends doing good. It makes you feel good when you see them.
I mean, because like for me, like, dude, you grew up hard scrabble, you know, like that's how it was in Warren. Once the steel mill closed, what workers could went to the Lordstown GM plant.
Mm-hmm.
And then that thing started being idled for years at a time, and they would bring workers back. That's right. Just, you know,
Don't know how to drink it. Yeah.
But like when you see one of the, especially someone that came from those hard scrabble areas that made it, you know, like I hate people that will be so nice to someone and they're like, I can't believe, you know, him. Ugh. You know, it's just like, Antoine's making suits and he's one of 6 on the planet, bro. Like
that shit was fucking, dude. It was, he's been moving. He started at Nordstrom, right? He moved up. He's doing well. And it was kind of a trip because again, I was happy to see everybody. I'm going back next month because my kid's graduating college. So there's like all these kind of cool things that are happening. And it was just one of those moments where you I think because of the fear and the adrenaline of you know not wanting me and Ben to get fucking shanked for 2 laptops.
Guy comes out of nowhere, he's like, drop your drawers, and Jason's just like, well, this is what I gotta do.
You gonna not shank me? Okay.
I'm gonna shank you.
Wash off the shame.
I'm gonna shank you with something. Oh, be gentle, please.
Yeah, like Tony's like bourgeoisie revolution. Like we got kind of because I had it the next day, got kind of treated to this, and there's no way that I will say this. I would like to eat like that. It was really good.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, when I did the documentary and they're like, hey, you know, we really want you to come to shank you in your love hole, man. You know, they're like, we really want you to come up to New York City and do the premiere at Tribeca. Okay, first off, Tony, Jason never got a card. He's like an ancillary member. He's just there to froth things. Okay. Yeah, scallop butter blew his mind, and then someone blew all over Jason. Just, please don't take my laptop. Oh, I'm gonna get something from you. Oh God, no. So like, but
I know you've had these experiences.
Well, dude, before. Yeah. And the thing is, like, they fly me up, or they send a car out to where I was at in Rayford, take me to the Raleigh airport, which is an hour and 45 minutes away. So this poor driver had to drive an hour and 45, pick my ass up, and then drive an hour and 45 back. They fly me out first class. Tell me to get the Delta app so I can get all the miles from it, which I fucking did. Right. And then they put me up in the Nomad, which is like the Hilton boutique like line of hotels. And I get there, and keep in mind, I've got like the small suitcase with a bunch of skulls on it. I'm wearing Chucks and jeans, and I had up. I can't believe I fucking wore this shirt, but it just was a big hammer and sickle on it. And everybody's staring at me. And the producer walks out. And keep in mind, the producer of the documentary was like, he played college basketball. He's like 6'10", tall, beautiful head of hair, you know, very well spoken.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Mike, come on, you know, and they're like, oh, he's here, right? He's with them. And so I was there 5 days, and the first 2 days we had nothing going on because they were like prepping the theater and shit at the film festival, right? So I just got to fuck around New York City for 2 days. Awesome, right? So Stars gave me $180 a day per diem. Okay. I'm more interested in food tourism at this point. So I walked probably about 10 miles the first day and just hit all these spots I had heard about, but I never thought I could get to. And if I wanted to eat out, the Stars rep gave me a Stars like credit card. And she's like, you're not eating on your dime this week. We got it. Right. So I hit like this pizza stand that's like world famous. The dude like pulls the pies from the oven barehanded. Like, you have to get in line 2 hours before it opens so you can get one. So first spot I hit, right? I'm at the stand at 9:30 in the morning. There's like 5 people there already.
Grinning like a foreigner.
Like a motherfucker, dude. And the one guy's like, not from here, huh? And I'm like, nope.
And?
You know, and he's like, well, dude, he was totally rad about it. He's like, best pizza you're ever gonna have. He did not lie. It was fucking phenomenal, right? So my buddy tells me about the oldest pub in New York, and there's only 2 options. You have the dark or the light, and that's all they serve. It was started by an Irish family. It's still in the hands of an Irish family, and he doesn't hire Americans. He gets Irish students going to like CUNY or
NYU or something.
NYU, like Irish kids over on student visas, and they sling drinks for this guy, right? It's only Irish people that work there. And so I walk in, and I was like, I already know dark or the light. I'll take one of each. And he's like, $6. I'm like, I'm paying $6 for 2 drinks in New York City. Fucking sign me up all day. So I spent like 3 hours fucking drinking there. Right. And then I was like, well, I'm going to meet Paul and Derek for dinner so I can have like a little snack. And I'm doing a lot of walking, so why the fuck not? Right. So there's like, I went to Bauhaus, Eddie Wong's old restaurant.
Oh, wow.
Got like 2 bao. And they were not kidding. Cause like when I read when I read Fresh Off the Boat, he's like, dude, if you ever come out here, you know, come to my restaurant, keep in mind, all you're going to smell is fucking weed smoke and good food. Dude, he was not kidding. I got a fucking contact high just walking through the cloud to go into the door. So I ordered 2 bao, and that's something I could eat while I'm moving, right? So I get back to my hotel, and I know I have all this per diem. And I'm like, fuck it. So I ordered, I'm not even kidding, I ordered a bottle of fucking Grey Goose vodka. And they brought up a whole bottle of soda water for me with pre-cut limes.
Damn.
Right? The bottle was like $60, and I left $100 for a tip.
Because you could.
Yeah. It's not my money.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't give a fuck. Right? So the maitre d's and shit start fighting over who's going to bring food and shit to my room because I'm leaving $100 tips every fucking time. Except one day where I drank on my 180 and then proceeded to just go out to all these like weird places in New York City. So we do the viewing of the first 2 episodes of the documentary, right? And Steven Soderbergh was the guy who put the money up for it. So I got to meet him, which was really cool. And he's like, you know, you really stuck out during the documentary. You just kind of said whatever came to mind. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm not going to hold back. Why the fuck would I, you know? And he's not used to being spoken to like this, right? And like the other producer, Dave, is like, you know, he's kind of weird. You know, keep in mind, he's like a big Hollywood guy, so he's used to being addressed a certain way. I was like, Dave, I don't give a shit. I don't care. Right? I don't.
I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you brought this on yourself. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. You were like, hey, Matt, come on up to New York City. Let's go to Tribeca, So we view the first 2 episodes on this big screen, right? So like I'm sitting in the audience and then we're doing a Q&A afterwards where they put us up on the stage in front of the screen, right? And keep in mind, they do Tribeca at this giant movie theater that's like 12 stories tall or some shit. And there's 3 screens on each floor. So like they're just showing TV and TV shows and movies all fucking day, right? And you have to like walk and they take pictures and shit. Like I actually wore a suit, I still wore Chucks with my suit, but I wore a suit. And I get up front and they got the lights on you, so I can't see very well. And I look out, the whole theater's full, Jason. 400 people. I didn't think anybody would fucking show up for this shit, right? And they have a mediator there, and she does not toss me a softball at all. So I'm up there. It's the producers, Clint Lorantz's attorney, who I did not get along with very well, and they sit me right next to him. So this guy proceeds to just start fucking, they ask him a question. He starts fucking flapping his gums, right? And they open it up to the audience. And dude, I'm fucking killing it, man. Like, I don't know. I was like Will Ferrell in Old School where I blacked out and I came to and people were clapping and shit, But then this cat stands up and like calls me a rat.
Whoa.
And I was like, yeah, saying something against the fucking war criminal is not being a rat. That's doing the right thing. And I kid you not, this guy must have been pushing 80. He's on oxygen, stands up and is like, you shut your fucking mouth over there. I will wheel my tank over there and I'll fucking crush your skull. Standing up and doing the right thing. Should be applauded for it. And like cops came out to escort this guy out, right? And like all the New Yorkers in there are just like, fuck yeah, dude. And this guy said something to the old guy and he's like, oh, you don't talk shit to that old fucking guy. It's just fucking like, oh my God. Right. And like pro Lorance guys are in the audience and they're like clipping everything I said. So like immediately the next day, there's already people talking shit about me. But like I was still smoking at the time. I haven't had a cigarette in fucking like 12 hours. I'm dying. Right. And the mediator, she was like a local, like in local news, like a big deal. I didn't know who the fuck she was, but everybody else did. So she's like, there's like a small square in between these buildings where you're actually allowed to smoke, but you have to stay in the square. So she takes me all the way downstairs, sneaks me out, gets me into this small square. And Jason, it's like a bronze thing around one of the blocks of marble that they laid down. That's the smoking section. So I like get my cigarettes out, dude. I'm just like, oh God. It's just a fucking mess, I thought, but Steven Soderbergh was happy about it. And the old guy comes up to me and he's like, I was in the Navy for 22 years, and you did the right fucking thing. You don't let any of these assholes tell you otherwise. And I'm like, I appreciate that, man. But like, you're on oxygen and like, I got a cigarette. He's like, oh, don't worry about this fucking thing. It ran out like yesterday and I just haven't been able to go get a new one. He's like, I'm fine. It's just emphysema. And I'm just like,
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. Right. So like all these other people are coming up and the guy who called me a rat was like, hey man, I'm really sorry about that. And I was like, do you think what Lorance did was right? And he was just like, I mean, they're just Afghans. And I'm like, this is the issue, So right down the block, they're doing like an after party thing. Right. And it's so swank. It's like this Italian joint. They got like Italian, like finger foods, like pizza and like a baked kind of like spaghetti crostini that you could pick up with your hand, like it was fucking nuts. And Paul and his wife are there and his wife is now like the publisher for Denver's largest local daily newspaper. Right. Like, and Paul, he got a promotion and he runs all the Olympics now, like winter and summer. And so Sarah, his wife's already having a good time. She's fucking super cool. A couple of the other interviewers are there, super fucking cool. And then Steven Soderbergh walks in, dude. And everybody gets quiet. And he goes to a table where there's like 5 people sitting already and just... And Whoa. Fucking they got up and left.
Whoa.
And I'm like, wow, man. So like I'm outside and again, there's 2 tables in the smoking area, right? And I don't know how much they put up for a bar tab. I don't know how we didn't get to the end of it because, dude, they were going down smooth. Okay. So like I'm sitting there, I'm talking to Fi and her sister, you know, we're just having a good time. And then this fucking dorky little nerd, like Harry Potter glasses, and he maybe was as tall, like maybe 5'3", 5'4". But he like taps me on the shoulder. He's like, Mr. McGinnis. I'm like, do not call me fucking Mr. McGinnis. And then he's like searching for words, Jason, and he goes, Staff Sergeant McGinnis? I'm like, I was like, I've got enough drinks in me where I will hit you. And he's like, please don't hit me. And I'm like, I'm not really going to hit you, dude. Fuck, what? He's like, Mr. Soderbergh wants to talk to you. And I was like, all right, cool. So I fucking go there in his empty chair. And he's like, you know, this was a hard project. I'm like, for you? I was like, dude, how do you think I feel about it, man? All the guys that you interviewed. I was like, we feel like shit. You know, I was like, I appreciate what you did because this is a hot topic. You know, war crimes are never easy to cover, you know, but like, you know, I don't really want to hear from you that this was a tough project, you know? And you saw Dave is like sweating bullets, dude, just like, oh God, Soderbergh's never going to work with me again, you know? He looks at me and he's like, you know what? You're a funny guy. And I was like, listen, man, I'm not trying to be funny. I was like, I look at you as a successful person, very successful in your chosen field, you know, but I was like, you're still a dude, you know, like I'm not gonna, I was like, I looked at him. I was like, I'll tell you right now, if you snapped your fingers and pointed for me to move, I'm probably going to hit you, you know, like he was just like, we are in different worlds. I'm like, you have no fucking clue. Right. And this is where the story gets super cool. So the after party ends at like 10. Mm-hmm. Derek is beat, and Derek is essentially the guy they hired to be a military translator, like all the acronyms and shit. Mm-hmm. And he's an old infantry guy too. So he's like, hey, are you still doing your food tourism? I'm like, yeah, I could eat. So he takes me to this little sandwich shop, fucking phenomenal sandwiches, cheap as shit. Like literally it was like $10. And it was like kind of like Mediterranean, a lot of lamb. Mm-hmm. But dude, it was like a Mediterranean sub almost. You know,
so you packed on hella meat. And
oh, shit. Dude, yeah. And you picked what fucking went on it, right? So like, dude, they just throw this shit in and it just smashed it. He's like, hey man, I'm going back to the hotel. I'm fucking beat. I'm like, I'm in New York City. I'm not. Right? So I meet Paul and Sarah out at this other joint, and it's like midnight. And I'm like, man, I can't believe shit closes up in 2 hours. And Paul and Sarah both look at me and go, what? I was like, yeah, 2 a.m. They're like, this is New York City, dude. You can find places open till 8 if you just look hard enough. And I was like, bet. And Paul's like, please don't be out all day or all night where we have to go looking for you tomorrow. And I'm like, I'll get back to the hotel, man. I promise. So I'm on Broadway. I've already walked around a lot, and I know my way around my little general area. So I know if I walk 2 blocks down and take a right, there's this bar called the Wolf Tone. You know, and if you don't know who Wolf Tone is, he was like an 18th century, essentially like Irish freedom fighter type of guy, right? He ended up leading a rebellion in 1798, killed himself in prison, but like he's very venerated because he was a Protestant that was really working on behalf of Catholics at the time. So I go in there and I saddle up to the bar, and I'm like, I still got a bit of money, you know, like that I'm allotting for myself on the Stars credit card, because like I don't know like what I'm supposed to spend on it when I'm not, you know. Mm-hmm. So I go to get a pint of Guinness, and he poured, you know, the bartender poured it, perfect pour, phenomenal room temp glass, the way it's supposed to be. And I kind of looked to my left, and keep in mind, I ran back to my room to put jeans and a t-shirt on. And you know who's sitting in the back corner, dude? I'm not even fucking kidding you. Mos Def.
No shit.
No shit. And I'm like, do I fanboy out and like do, you know? And I was like, no, we're not going to do that to Mos Def, right? So I just went up there. I was like, dude, huge fan. Not going to pester you for picture, autograph, and all this shit. I see you're hanging out with your friends. But, you know, love your music. Can't wait for you to get back on tour. That type of shit, right? Mm-hmm. And I went back to the bar. Bro, he came over and bullshitted with me for like an hour and a half. Because he's like, I know you're not from New York. You know, like, he's like, people in New York don't do that shit. People in New York come up with their phone already out.
Yeah.
Right? you know. And I told him what was going on. I was like, dude, I was in this documentary, you know, once with Tribeca, and now I'm just trying to like drink and fucking hang out. Bro, just talked about real shit. You know, he asked me what the documentary was about. You know, fucking, I asked him about music all, you know, the entire conversation. You know, it was very, very cool. And he's like, yo, let's get a picture, man. I was like, all right. I appreciate that because people would not fucking believe me if I told him this, right? And he's like, no, man, that's good. It's good. And I remember, like, he doesn't drink anymore, right? Like, he became Muslim, and that's one of the things he doesn't do. He doesn't drink. He's like, I just like the vibe here, man. It's chill. I was like, okay, all right. So, like, it's now probably like 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I'm like, bro, I'm still going, right? So I close out at the Wolf Tone, and keep in mind, fucking pint of Guinness at the Wolf Tone was like $5. The only bar in town here now to get a properly poured pint of Guinness is $7.50. I'm like, fuck, dude. I'm finding all these hidden gems in fucking New York City. It's phenomenal, right? So I was like, fuck it. I go to this sports bar that just literally on a chalkboard outside, it literally said $2, whatever the hell you want. We're trying to get rid of stuff, right? So I walked in and I was like, hey, man, can I just get like vodka soda? And he's like, sure. Fucking pours it out. He's like, it's $2. I was like, can I run a tab? He's like, nah, man, if you're doing a $2 thing, you got to have cash. And I was like, well, you got an ATM around here? And he's like, yeah, man. So he tells me to walk down this hall in the back of the bar. And dude, it was maybe 3 feet wide. I'm a stocky dude. I had to turn to the side and scoot down this hallway. And they have this ATM that's just covered in like cobwebs and shit in the back corner.
Oh my
God. And I'm like, this thing ain't gonna work. Bright as you just had to lift the shutter up. Bright as
it's like the fortune teller in Big.
Yeah, you know. So I got like $40 out, and I go back up to the bar, and like he like was super rad. He like kept a fucking seat for me because he knew I was just run out to get cash. And he's like, how many you gonna have, man? I was like, I don't know, dude. He's like, could you do 10 just so we can get rid of this bottle? And I'm like, why are you like doing such a cheap drink special and trying to get rid of all shit? And he's like, we're going to a new liquor distributor, and as a fuck you, rather than giving it back, we're just gonna sell whatever we can from the old guy. And I was like, I respect that kind of petty. Yeah, I can do 10. Right.
Jesus
so
Christ.
I did 10. I was sitting there bullshitting with a bunch of people, fucking gave the guy a $20 tip. And he was like, wow, man, you came in on a $2 night and gave $20. He's like, it's nice when poor people give other poor people money. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, you know? And so I was at this point, dude, I'm starting to like, I'm fucking stupid drunk. I'm fucking getting hungry again. So I was like, fuck it. I'll navigate my way back to the hotel. Well, I got a little turnaround. It took me about an hour to get home, even though I was only like 3 blocks away.
Makes sense. You had a lot of alcohol in you.
Yep. I get back to the hotel. It's a new day, right? My per diem reset. And I'm like, bro, I call down and I'm like, yo, man, it says you got breakfast burritos. Like, and keep in mind, it said it was like $25 for this breakfast burrito. I'm like, are these tiny? Is this a tiny burrito? And the guy's like, no, they're fucking huge. And I was like, well, I want a steak one. And they're like, good for you. The chef's already got steaks on the fucking, you know, sauteing. And I'm like, bet. I was like, bro, can you do like, you know, steak, eggs, fucking some kind of like, he's like, I got you, dude. Right. So, dude, this thing had like shaved potatoes, jalapenos, a little bit of onion, bro. And they sent up a bottle of Tapatio, which at the time was my favorite hot sauce. Now I'm more of a Cholula guy, but I was like, fuck yes. Right. Dude, steak cooked to perfection. And I'm like, fuck this, dude. I gave $135 to this guy.
135.
Yeah. And this guy's like, fuck yeah, you know? So like this goes on for 5 days. The next, like we wrapped it up at 5 episodes, but what ended up happening is Lawrence ends up getting the pardon, right? So they did a kind of like a 6th episode, and we filmed it in Colorado, and then we're doing more press. So they wanted me to go back to New York. They put me up at the Nomad. Dude, I walked in and everybody's like, bro, he's back. And I was like,
Moneybags is back.
They were like, bro, that was so cool. I was like, it's not my money. I don't give a shit. You know, like, I was like, this is me spreading the wealth where I can, right? And it wasn't like the second time I went there, it wasn't as crazy as the first. Cause like, dude, I was doing like machine gun interviews with local news stations where like I went to the studio, they did them remotely, and I did like 40 in a like one sitting, but they were like 5 minutes long each, right? I had to go to a studio for a Viacom network and do it like a sit-in interview with an audience and shit. Like it was fucking crazy the second time, like how busy I was. First time it was more laid back. I think they were just more worried about making sure everybody was there for Tribeca. But dude, I like, granted, you know, I was born in Cleveland. Cleveland's a rad city. But New York, you know, this was the first time I got to like fuck around in New York. And I was just like, bro, I would love to be here, you know, but
in a real city.
yeah, but it's like, I would have to like rent a couch from somebody.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't afford to live there. You know, it sucks. But
That's the thing about, you know, going back to, well, I'm from kind of I wouldn't say a big city, but an area where there's a big city. And I don't know. For me, what was kind of nice is like I have friends here in Mexico that I've made, but you know, I haven't seen my friends that I've had since school.
yeah.
And some guys since even before we were in high school, we've been tight. And to be able to see these guys and you know, people doing well, and of course see my family. You know, my band came out to the live gig because they had never seen me do my thing
in this milieu. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty. And we hadn't been all in the same room in over 5 years. So
dude, that's rough, man. Because like you got to think, you guys were within a foot of each other for every day for how long? You know,
for long enough, right? But the last tour with those guys was like the most fun I've ever had with people that close to them. You've had these same kind of moments where you're either going to be annoyed with people in these tight quarters, or a bond is built because of those tight quarters. And for me and those guys and the music we did, a bond was kind of built that we've seen each other independent off and on over the last 5 years, but never together in the same space. So it was one of those moments where you sit back and you go, I love the community that I have online, but it's so much different when I see people in real life. You know, people that came out to the live show that comment all the time in the chat, like Bay Planner was at the show.
Dude, that was one of the coolest things in DC, was just getting to meet, putting faces to everybody that's here. Right. And I guess this is like we talked about the negatives of the internet earlier, you know, where we can get siloed off and fall in those fucking Andrew Tate traps. Right. But then you have the positive side of it, you know, not always rosy. It's not supposed to be, you know, but fucking meeting Nuri and Claw, rad as shit. Finally getting to meet you in person, super fucking rad, you know, getting to talk with some really smart people and just really passionate people. God, I miss that.
It's so you know, this is going to sound super corny and maybe it's a weird note to leave on because usually we leave on something really raucous, but and I think you probably feel the same way. Whenever I get to do a live thing, which is really rare for me, it's kind of beautiful because I'm just chilling with people that I interact with in this internet space, but then I get to see them in real life, and the vibe is different. The vibe is totally different when you see people in real life. And then, you know, I tell all those goofy stories about the champagne and stuff because as me and my buddy were talking in his office, I reminded him that I don't drink. And I was telling him that to tell him that I felt like this was such an honor in a situation that was never going to happen to me, that I'll take this drink. And before I can even say that, he goes, Jay, I wasn't sure if you drank or not, but I told the girl, you bring my nigga champagne, and I don't give a fuck if he doesn't drink it. You set this shit in front of him because I want everybody to know that I take care of my nigga. And I was like, you know, and
one, Antoine, I respect it. I do. You know, I love that. If I'm ever in a position to like hook my friend up, like I work at my buddy went to Dreamfest, which was a big J. Cole's music festival in Raleigh, right? You know, J. Cole's from Fayetteville. You know, his house is literally still standing. It's got a giant fence around it now saying no trespassing, but people still go there for homage reasons, right? Well, he's went every year it's been there. This is last year, so he and his wife went. Someone broke into his truck, just fucking threw something through the back window, right? He texts me and is like, hey, dude, I know you work at a Chevy dealership. I got a Silverado. Can you get me a window?
Mm-hmm.
Every part is on back order right now. Every single one. Except glass, my friend. Fields of glass as far as the eye can see. Everything else, no. Right? So Peck is like, dude, I know it's going to run like $300 or $400. I'm like, well, let me price it. So I got the VIN. My buddy Ricky at work puts it in. He's like, hey, man, with your employee discount, it's going to be $140. I was like, I totally forgot I'd get one of those. You know? So, like, I was able to hook Peck up in that moment. The way Antoine was like, girl, you better take Jason that champagne.
Yeah, like, you better take this. And it's look, I miss being around certain people, and I got to do it for a little bit. And I definitely, again, as corny as this is going to sound, I love whenever we get to do live things, and actually interact with people. My favorite part of the live thing is always when it's like, okay, is the serious part over? Can I take the microphone into the crowd and do questions with people now? Because that's my favorite part.
Bro, you are in your element in front of a group. And I witnessed that in DC. Like, you're very good at what you do. I love watching your show. I have since fucking Marcus introduced us, right? But you in front of people, it's fucking magical, man. Like, I remember when we were up in DC, we had that small group in the back that had just come from the protest, and they were sweating bullets trying to ask. I was sitting right next to him for most of the night. So they were like, well, who's going to ask? I don't know if I can ask. Oh my God. And you just walk up there with your Jason Miles smile. I'm like, what's your name? She just, you know, and she fires off this poignant question to Pascal, and you could see on her face, you can hear the gears turning. He's going to say something to make me feel stupid. And he's just like, that's a great question. Gets into the answer. And dude, she's just sitting down. Fucking, she's like, I protest today. Ask a question. Fucking drink a couple drinks. I will recommend, do not go from a protest to drinking because you're already dehydrated.
That sounds depressing. Yeah.
You are dehydrated already. You probably haven't eaten much. And I can tell you right now, my neighbors at the other table did not eat a lot of food. I got there and made sure I ate something before I had my one beer, and then the after party shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Yep. Totally fucking worth it.
But that whole night was like a great, Pascal got to be out with people, and he's been sequestered, if you will, for a while. So no, the whole thing is a bunch of not just fun, but it really gets into the thing that we always talk about on this show, that like politics are done in real spaces.
Yeah.
Right. You have to be in real spaces with real people. We can do so much online, but you really have to get in there with people and interact with people in a real way. And to be able to do that, either with this show or whatever I've been able to do it with, again, I'm sorry if I sound too corny. It feels kind of like a blessing, if you will.
Well, dude, the thing is, we need a little more corny. We really do, right? Someone told me, like, you can disseminate a message online, but you can't make it hit home until you do it in person.
Yeah.
Which I think makes a lot of sense. You can get a message out online, but you can't really deliver it, until you're in that space, right? Mm-hmm. And because of the internet, the one we adopted, but the younger generation was born into. Thank you, Bane. You're welcome. But the funny thing is, my son just got into Batman. He's got ADHD, so he hyperfixates on things.
Mm-hmm.
Started buying comic books, watching all the movies, like live action and animated. And he's like Tom Hardy's Bane. He's like, just out of nowhere, dude. He's reading a book and he hums like it's something he does. So he was humming, I think, Come Out and Play by Offspring. He's like, For my opinion, Tom Hardy's Bane was awesome. And like, my daughter and I are just sitting there and it's like, you really stopped reading and humming to let us know? And he goes, yes. Like, and that's like the running joke in the family, is we just do the Bane voice for just the most mundane shit, But, like, we need more personal interaction. We really do. And that's why I like doing like my reading groups and going to, idea sessions like I told you about last night. You want to, if you're going to build community, you have to do it in the community
You have to do
and
it in
not
the
on
community.
Twitter and not on YouTube and not on, I mean, these are great. This is a great way to get your message out, but you're not going to build anything until you do it in person,
Mhm.
and fuck, they didn't even have the internet in the 19th century. And Marx made a great point. Like he hammered that one home. If you're going to build a community and a movement, you do that person to person, not in the newspapers, not in letters, not in all this shit. Like you got to do it together, and I think we should be doing a little more of that. I wish there was a great big billionaire leftist like George Soros is supposedly that just gave us money to get together and do shit. That'd be awesome.
That would be the thing, right? Like we got to do this thing in New York a few years ago, and I met Prairie and a bunch of people at the New York show, and then a handful of people came to hang out with us a little bit afterwards, and it's those moments that you go, you really have to be in real spaces, and then you appreciate this one thing that it makes me sad that a lot of younger people don't have, and when I write about this in the piece. There's a culture around gyms and steroid use where you're actually around people that do this wacky thing called support you. Support is massive.
Yeah.
And not all my friends came out to see me, but I didn't care. But the ones that did, those are the ones that have been by my side forever and vice versa, right? And I'm sure it's the same for you. And having real friendships. This is what I talk about with drugs as well. If you've done hard drugs for a long time, you've alienated probably all of your family and halfway decent people.
And most of your close friends.
Oh, all gone.
Yeah.
And the only close friends you're going to have are people that you did dope with. So if you get clean for either rehab, prison, whatever the fuck it is that cleans you up, you're going to come back to a lot of people telling you to go fuck yourself. And the only people that are going to be there for you might not be the best people that you should be around.
Yep.
I had Jay Baker on the show, Jim and Tammy Faye's son, and I asked him, what happened to your pops when he got out? Who was there for him? You know what? The only people that were there for him were the hardcore right-wingers at the time. So who do you think he's going to gravitate towards? And I say all this to say, whenever we talk about, well, how are you going to fix it? What are you going to do? Community matters. Empathy matters. Yep. And the best way to build that kind of shit is by having actual bonds with real people in real spaces. And, doing that the other night kind of reminded me of that. That's why I'm constantly trying to write about things like empathy, because I think it's this thing that we lose. And we don't understand why do they go back to this? Why don't they want to get housing and live on the street? Because there's a community there. They have friends there.
Yeah.
They may not be the best friends. That's the only friends they know. Are you going to be a friend? Or is it just charity for you? Because it's different.
Yeah. Big difference. And Vulcan brought up a good question. He said, I don't know how the fuck to find my real life community while working, let alone with a fresh baby.
Oof.
Here's some pointers, Vulcan. Here's just my 2 cents, right? You're a busy dude. Like, I get it. I'm not saying in addition to raising a kid or helping raising a kid, pit snipe, exactly, empathy is our power, anger is our weakness, and working full time, that you go out and do another 20 hours of community work like that.
I would never say that.
I'm not recommending that. But what you can do is set aside a couple hours, you and your partner, like, definitely communicate with your partner that this is something you're interested in doing, right? And just start a reading group. That's what I did. It started with 3 people and now it's 26, is it always like rosy? No, because a lot of younger lefties that are trying to learn what it is to be a lefty and the things they need to know, they learn differently. They absorb things better through video. and kind of someone doing the reading for them. I'm not saying that in a negative way, but like Jason and I, we probably could expound on a lot of lefty literature, and people will watch that want to know. Because like you, they're super fucking busy and they don't have 2 years of their life to dedicate to reading all 3 volumes of Capital, right?
Exactly.
They just don't have it. That's why one of the most downloaded audiobooks and listen to podcasts is 3 people that decided they would read all 3 volumes and then break it down for the listener, because Capital's horrible. Like,
Well,
it's so hard to read.
Ben has a Capital class that he actually does in person, and he wants to do it in person. Alex Herbert, who's coming on the show tomorrow night, is doing a Marx class. I don't think that's in person, but he's doing one because it is hard to decipher.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say is move to Mexico and then find a weird goth vampire bar in the bowels of TJ.
There you go. Or you can do that, Vulcan. I don't know.
You can do that.
I don't
You
know
can do that, Vulcan. Don't take your kid there though, because they'll eat it. But all jokes aside,
your baby's fine. It's safe. Don't tell people they're going to cannibalize a child, Jason.
If you have, I don't know where you stay. I don't know if you moved from where you're from. I don't know your entire situation, and that has a lot to do with it, right? But if you have real homies will show up. Homies will show up. Oh, so-and-so's got a kid. It's difficult to entertain, especially, I don't know, your living situation. Is it fucked up where you got to like live with homegirl's mom that hates you? Like, I don't know. Like, if it's that bad, I hope it's not. I hope it's a decent situation. But I had a kid young, I was 21, and when my friends wanted to go out, I don't mean like at a night to a club. I mean, it's like, hey, we're just going to go hang out in San Francisco or something. It was like, I got my kid, and they would be like, well, then take the fucking kid. We were there when she was born, but we don't want to hang out with her anymore.
We literally saw her get shot out of the womb, Jason. She'll be fine here, I promise.
Like, we were all that, like, dude, we're fine. So, that poor little girl had to grow up with both of her parents as they were trying to figure out how to grow up. And she came with me everywhere, to the point where it was a bit of a treat. So, I am not against bringing kids. And luckily I had a friend group that was, maybe because I was the only one with a kid, that was very supportive and, to this day, love their niece. So
I mean, you got to think kids are part of a community.
Yeah.
Period. This isn't something you compartmentalize and just like keep to yourself. If you're interested in actually building leftist spaces in your community, it's going to involve, your partner, your kid, your whatever the case is. It's just, that's how it is. It's not just you building this other group that's going to take a lot of your time. Yes, Sahir. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'd like to think my kids are rad little people. My son hates that I'm so political, and I get it. He's going to be 14 in June. I understand completely. Whereas my daughter is firmly embracing leftism at 16. But like, my son asked me, he's like, well, do you wish I was more like you? I'm like, nah, dude, I want you to be you.
No. Yeah. Be you,
man. I was like, I want you to grow up better than I did, where I detested myself as a young man. I joined the military and I hated myself even more. I found something like no one should take pride in being good at, which is, war. But I realize all that struggle and me growing up and learning how to deal with all this shit has made me what I think is a good dude. I may not be rich or successful, but I'd like to think I'm a good human being. And that's all I want out of my kids. Be a good human being and find somebody that enriches your life and makes you happy. And I don't even just mean that in a partner, but surround yourself with good people.
That's the thing that I think people forget. And I'm learning this as I get older. I was talking with my buddy from the band Bitter Lake, and I was like, I just now realize you don't grow up and stop.
No.
You just keep growing up. And then we hit these different moments where we realize, oh, we're still growing. And one of those things that I'm more cognizant of is my kids' friend relationships. Like I had a daughter first, and there's always jokes about, when she starts dating, we're going to be out there with guns, and it's like, yeah, whatever. But it's like, who is she hanging out with? Who are her friends? Who's her peer group?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I care about now more than, she's been dating the same guy since she was 18. He's fucking wonderful. He's a part of the family, so I think I'm pretty lucky that I have this cool kid, another kid in my life. But I don't talk about politics with my kid unless they come ask me a question.
Yeah.
And very rarely do they. But I sat there and listened to my kid talked about dinosaurs. My 6-year-old told me about dinosaurs and Jurassic World. And that's all I care about for that time is fucking dinosaurs and whatever transforming thing he just discovered. And maybe hipping him on if you like transforming things, have you seen this Japanese, that's all I give a shit about is his dinosaur stories. And I'm not trying to raise little fucking soldiers. That's some weird culty shit.
Yeah. I mean, dude, we're already seeing the negative effects of that shit now, right? We've got Republican legislators at the state level that are really trying to hammer home that girls should not pursue secondary education. What they need to do is get married and have babies as soon as possible because of our plummeting birth rate, right? I hate to maybe sound like a broken drum, but science has pointed to falling birth rates because the earth can only sustain X amount of souls on it, and this is a correction. I mean, I hate to say that, and on top of that, what are the financial,
I was going to say that,
the financial responsibilities that would-be parents have? It's expensive as shit to have a kid. Expensive as shit.
Super expensive. Yeah.
And when you can barely rub 2 nickels together just to make sure you can get a loaf of bread, why would you have a kid? That was my biggest worry, was having a kid and not being able to provide for it. I grew up poor.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to bring a kid into that. Like, honestly, my parents are fucking idiots. Why would you fucking... My dad literally ran coke for the Cleveland Guardians in the early 80s as a teenager, and then ended up working security for them. And guess what he did during the 80s? He got them coke. And my mom moves from a little town to the big city of Cleveland and meets this tall dude, and she's about as tall as a hobbit. And after one coke-induced night of passion, she's knocked up. Oh, and then it's a shotgun wedding. Like, they're the 2 dumbest people on the planet. You don't need to have a fucking kid.
Well, that's the thing. If you have a kid too young, then you're stupid. If you have a kid too old, then you're stupid. Not everybody wants to be perceived as stupid. Definitely not everybody can afford it. That's definitely a reality, right? If I'm writing about people being afraid that if you don't make a high 6-figure income, then you're a failure, then definitely nobody's rushing to fucking, stay in there and have a kid. So, no, dude, again, this is all why I think community is important. These conversations are important.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's if we actually built communities, and I don't mean areas where total Ayn Randian individualism reigns, which is how we live now, right? But if we had actual communities, the financial aspect of it wouldn't be so bad, because real communities, it takes a village, right? Yeah, and that's how a lot of places are. Like, I get it. We live in a very hyper individual world, but you still have like places where the town is still the basis of everything, and they pitch in and help out, And the thing is, we don't need a big thing, right? And we all know what the thing is. It's code. I'm not really in the mood to have our NSA agent that tracks us and listens to our bullshit knocking on my door being like, where's that Jason Miles at? And I'm like, if you really paid attention, he's not even in the country anymore. Right? I called Jason up. I'm like, hey, here's my one phone call, dude. Fuck you. They arrested me. And I just hang up. But like, we don't need the big thing now. Okay. I'm not saying we vote this out. This, like I said, I'm reading a book about the Weimar Republic. We're like in 1930s Weimar right now. It's not looking good. When RFK's waking up saying, you know what, I'm going to call personal medical information, cell phone information, and smartwatch information so I can track who's been diagnosed with autism and other developmental disabilities and form a database for research purposes. That kind of sounds like something that's already happened, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So we're on this slide. We can't vote to stop it, but what we can do is build community to limit its effects, protect ourselves, and ensure that that big, thing doesn't come all the way down on us. When people ask me what my dream is, it's not state by state accepting socialism. It's locality by locality doing it and then working together to affect it at the state level. If the state pushes it down, or if we try and go too big, it won't work. But if we aim small, we miss small. And that's where we need to start focusing. Less on fucking state and national shit. Focus on the local. Build that community, person to person, and you're going to be able to mitigate a lot of the shit that's rolling downhill. Not all of it, but some of it. And that little bit of some might be enough to really positively affect somebody or even save their life.
We talked about that at the live thing. Should lefties start trying to get into the school boards? I think that's where a lot of damage was done and has been on the right for some time, for a long time, because that was part of their strategy all the way back to the Tea Party people. Like, if we get into the school boards, we're going to get into the churches. Yep.
And the thing is, it's when you join that with what conservatives had done for the judiciary since the 60s, it's nuts how they kind of did it quietly. And then now we're dealing with the repercussions. It's kind of like, I love that I read something. I'll send you the link if I can find it, Jason. But, they're going to start garnishing wages for unpaid student loans, right? A student who right now is unnamed has already filed suit saying she signed her loan contract with the Department of Education, which no longer has a loan enforcement arm. It's been moved to the U.S. Small Business Administration. So she said that's financially voids the contract. And it's going in front of the courts. And the thing is, lately, we've had some conservative judges that have went against the administration because it wasn't legally correct. Like, it could happen. And I will laugh my ass off if this student wins in court, and that the whole, we're going to get rid of the Department of Education comes back and just bites the big orange fucking Cheeto right in his dick hole. Like, it's going to be hilarious.
All this stuff is not playing well for him. We don't have to get into that as we hit the 3-hour mark. It's the 3-hour mark. That means it's midnight where you are.
Yeah. And I'm going to read some more. Great book about the Buckley-Baldwin debate and
interesting,
and how it came about. Written very, 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 very well. I've been on a kind of a Baldwin kick lately.
Be careful.
I know.
There's a lot of horrible people that talk about James Baldwin.
I know. And it can get kind of dark and depressing, especially towards the end of his life. But I'm going to read my book for about 20 minutes. I'm going to take a melatonin. Hopefully I can sleep through the night. Because I was telling Jason, I've maybe gotten 5 or 6 hours of sleep over the last week, maybe less, because it's that time of the year where, my body still to this day, I've been out of the Army 10 years, still gets turned on during the spring and summer, because this is when we start fighting, and I could like smell cordite. I can taste like the dust grit on my teeth. It's weird how your body gets conditioned to this thing. And even after you remove it, it's still there, you know? And it's just like, I knew there would be a period of adjustment. I'm an adult. I know. Did I ignore that period for the first few years out? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. But now it's just like, I need it to stop because it's like clockwork. Every April, all that shit comes back, man. Adrenaline starts pumping, you know, and it's just like, no one is shooting at me right now, body. I don't need you to hit the adrenaline button. You know, if my head is like the Inside Out movie where my emotions are all like talking to each other and shit, like literally rage is hitting the adrenaline dump button right now. Just, you know, and it's not fun. I hate it. You know, and this is probably the oddest part about operating in a leftist space with this, how long I was in. People look at one enlistment and they're like, okay, we can forgive that. And when you tell them you were in 16 years, they're like, oh my God, baby killer. And it's just like, dude, no, I felt I had a responsibility to young soldiers. And I think that was worth it to stay in because they didn't know. They're kids. The military does what it does. It goes after young people without a fully developed frontal cortex. Says, guess what we can give you, baby? How about a little of that health care? Ooh, steady paycheck. Got you. Free room and board. Oh, and get this. Debt-free college.
Yeah. Who's not signing up for that?
Exactly. You know? And I think that's what I really love about these younger kids now, Jason. The military is dangling that in front of them and they're like, fuck you, no. Like, just no.
Yeah.
You know? And the thing is when you look at what Hegseth's trying to do, which is downsize numbers-wise the DoD, but getting an increased budget. Come on.
How much longer is dude going to be around this? Seriously.
Dude, whatever minion fucking Trump throws out after him, they're going to do the same thing because they're going to lean on contractors, just like we talked.
Yeah, but is it going to be like Trump won now because everybody's going to start getting purged for whatever reason? And it's just going to be
dude. I'm waiting for
call.
that announcement, the executive order signed where Trump institutes the purge, so he can have all his rich friends stream out of Mar-a-Lago like roaches in the daylight, going after us poors, not realizing us poors are probably better armed and probably have used that tool of the trade, so to speak, a lot more. So I'm for me, come at me, bro. Come at me. Because after I'm done with you, I'm going to use my day of doing crime with no punishment, and I'm going after every rich person's house, and I'm just stealing shit.
You're going to be like, I know you have that hand-churned butter from that restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Bitch, give me that butter.
I know you have that
My
butter.
boy Jason needs it.
He know you have that cum butter, that fucking...
That's right. And then I'm going to go to the rich guy who runs like an HVAC unit that's got like a refrigeration truck. I'm going to steal that on my 24 hours of doing crime without punishment. I'm going to bring that butter to you, Jason. I'm going to bring it to you.
And that's when like one tear rolls down my face.
That's right. I'm going to be like, Jason, I found the butter and I've got a whole vat in this refrigeration truck for you.
And then the scene at the end of or not the end, I guess it's I'm trying to think of a Rocky reference.
Oh, dude.
All the scenes with him and Apollo are kind of
I am going to be so jacked up and happy because I got to like fuck with the rich man for 24 hours. Man. Let's go.
Prairie Fire's going to steal everyone's air fryer.
Fuck yeah, dude. Prairie, what we'll do, you take the air fryer, I'll take the TV remotes.
That's the worst.
Dude, people, the air fryer is...
That will cause, those two things will cause the internal damnation of all those people. That's how you kill the 1%. Hide their remotes, take their air fryers.
Yep.
It's a wrap.
Yep.
Hide their phone chargers.
Oh, and Prairie, what we'll do is we'll put like the remotes in the basket of the air fryer and we'll just stack them and then light them on fire and record it and put it up on YouTube the next morning when they can't do shit because the laws are back. What's up?
Prairie, you see what Prairie says?
Oh yeah, dude, Prairie,
Mac,
you're not
just
kidding.
remember, when society collapses and the rich go to the bunkers, we're welding them fucking doors shut. Jason will take the milk frothers. I will. I'll take the really good espresso machine ones.
Jason just turns into Terry Crews from The Longest Yard. He's like, "You need some froth," and he just pulls one out of his pants. He's like, "He's got him in a shoe."
I frothed milk before this show. Fucking got ready.
We're all just standing in a group, and someone's like, "Man, things went. We welded all those doors shut. All those rich people are gone, but like, I don't have a frother." Jason's like,
"You got one now." Then
I got you, boo. I got you. How's that froth milk taste?
Coach, look, why are you making fun of my shirt? I'm very proud of this shirt.
That's a cool shirt.
I love this shirt. Jason, I got the bandolier frothers. So look, I don't know if you guys can notice on Mac, but I can notice as I'm watching him talk that his traps. Before we go, I have to say this. I can see your traps.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, bro. I'm trying to get fucking swole.
Yeah, I can see
because there's this girl, this woman that has been out the last 3 times I went out for a couple drinks. And she's just like I know she's flirting with me, but it could just be like she's flirtatious, you know? But she does like the arm touch a lot, which so I'm like, okay, maybe she's into me. But she keeps commenting how she likes, you know, dudes with wide shoulders. And I'm like, we get
Guess
there.
It's back day again.
That's right. You know? It's fucking great, man. You know,
always back day for me, ma'am.
Are you real? What are you doing? Are you doing weighted pull-ups with 600 pounds? Only way to get big traps, bro.
Can you see the wings? Can you see the wings? So there's a girls makes you do all these goofy things like
Zahir. I do not skip leg day.
Oh, dude, I've been taking leg day to the next level.
Leg day is important if you want a big back. Straight up.
I've been fucking crushing. Mac, I can barely walk.
That's how you know you did it right.
Because I followed up leg day by walking all over Tijuana. 6 miles. I can barely walk.
Yeah.
But my ass, phenomenal.
You guys thought the shorts were short then.
Dude.
Give it a month.
They're about to be straight Daisy Dukes with a little bit of peen hanging out the bottom.
Jason's just going to have like the 3 inches at the bottom just dangling out the bottom of those shorts.
Oh, it's about to get real inappropriate. It's about to heat up down here too. Hella inappropriate. So just look, this is about this right now. This is conservative. This is conservative, Mac, because I'm starting to feel real comfortable with possibly being just shirt open. Oh,
bro, I'm telling you, you get to the point, you just say when. Just send me that text. ACAP cooking's on. I'm like, let's go.
Let's do it.
Just
never
Jason,
not skip. Just
Jason, dick out, making a nice raisin salad to start. That's gonna be our pilot episode, you know. And then we'll move up to more hot goods.
Kush says Winnie the Poohing in TJ.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do, Kush. It's getting warm out there. It was 86 degrees here in North Carolina today, and it pissed rain for about 15 minutes, and it just turned into this big, muddy swamp ass.
Oh, that's so gross, dude. Oh, so it was like that. Oh, the humid 86. No sun.
At the end of the day, yeah.
Oh,
just sticky.
That's why I can't move further south. Because to move further south, the temperature will change. And I'm just not built for it.
Dude, one of my professors at Pembroke did a 6-year fellowship in Mexico City.
That's beautiful.
And then, but he would go further down into the isthmus to do like research and shit. And he's like, dude, North Carolina is easy for me. because I bumped into him at a Woodpeckers game, like the minor league team here in town, and he's a huge baseball nut. He's like, oh, and it was like 90 degrees. It was muggy. You know, first pitch is at 6. So you're just sweltering. You're sitting in the plastic seats, Jason, you know, just like, you know,
trying to fight off
dying.
just large bugs. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and Chris is sitting over there just like, what? This is nothing. He's like, you ever been to the Yucatan? I'm like, no. He's like, I did. You know?
Yeah, no, I live somewhere where it's pretty fucking nice year round, and I like it that way. I'm from California. I don't understand seasons.
Temperate that would be my happy space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be great. I can handle temperate. That's chef's kiss. But see, I never end up in temperate places.
Mm-mm.
Like in Cleveland, you're going to get some muggy summers. Claw can tell you about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what you're also going to get? Anywhere from 5 to 8 months of winter.
Mm-hmm.
Just depends on what Mother Nature's like.
Real winter.
She woke up and Father Nature didn't give her dick that night. So she's like, yes, it was 70 degrees and sunny on Monday, but it's Tuesday. Here's 6 inches of snow. And you're like, Mother Nature, it's May. She's like, bitch, am I talking? And you're just like, yeah, you are.
Dude,
you know?
It's if you came down here for an extended visit, I think your kids would want to stay too.
Well, Bailey's already made it known she doesn't want to be here. She's like, I'm a gay woman.
Mm.
I'm not quiet, and she is not. And she doesn't want to be in a place where she doesn't feel like she's considered important. And I said, I respect that. I really do. You know, I just told her there's no magic place, kid. There's no magic place.
There's no magic place. You're right.
Every place has bad people in it. Every fucking one of them. You know, I was like, you just got to make the best of where you're at. I was like, but I'm going to support you if you want to move overseas. That's fine. But I was like, you got to make sure you do it right. Because like I could move to New Zealand right now and they would pay me to do it because I have a degree and they need teachers. But it's like a 7-8 year process to get citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I couldn't come back to the States on that particular visa they have. I'd have to stay there, you know, and like my parents are older. I mean, I'm not super close with them anymore, but if they fell over and died, I'd have to be here to like take care of shit, you know? But you know, it's, I don't know, man, like New Zealand would be cool. I've always wanted to go there. I want to live on the northern island, not the southern island. But like, I don't have the money to go anywhere right now. 1, and 2, I don't really want to, because if things are going to change, I'd like to be here to help. You know,
it's also hard to tell a kid that the grass isn't greener because it sounds like what old people say. And you want to be like, look, dude, whatever you are today isn't who you are tomorrow.
Yeah.
First and foremost, get that in your head. And that's going to be hard for you to understand because all you know is what you know. But you think you'd be the first person to fucking leave a small town, go to a big city and not like it?
Yeah. And Kush, you're wrong. Go to enough places, you miss all the ones you happen to not be at simultaneously. I don't miss Afghanistan. I don't miss it. I don't miss any of the other places I deployed to. I don't miss it.
I think your situation was unique. I don't miss anywhere. I'll say this. I don't miss any physical location. I'm not one of those guys like, oh, and then the beignets in New Orleans. No, I miss people. I just miss people.
That's me. That is me. I miss, you know, the good dudes I met. Like when I went to that little reunion, it was great seeing the guys that I, you know, like getting to reconnect with one dude in particular. Hadn't talked to him for a little while. He did some time, straightened himself up, doing really well. Love getting the opportunity to link up with him and some other guys, man. You know, people make it worth it. You know, you find the right people, fuck, man. You'll go the extra mile for them. They'll do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get funny stories to tell. You know, they send your kid back with some off the fucking handle shit to say to you, and you're like, I'm gonna kill you. And they're like, Uncle or Aunt man said to say that to you, and you're just like, don't say that again, kid. And then you get on the phone, and you're like, what? Why are you telling my kid to call him up to me and call me a small dick motherfucker? He's 4. And your buddy's like, well, you got a small dick. It's just like, bro, okay, leave me alone. Don't let my kids know that.
Damn. There's just people like these images behind me. I remember some of the venues, but I remember the people. And sometimes there's people that were part of those venues that I still keep in contact with. Bands that I still keep in contact with. That
all the vagina he couldn't smash because he was
I was touring with my woman. Yeah. No,
You know?
I mean I played weird music. There was definitely not like there was women there.
There was a woman, and that was your partner at the time.
Yeah, that was her. The thing that sucked about touring with a woman that I thought was attractive and a lot of other people thought was attractive is that they give a fuck about you and they will hit on her as she's talking to you after she said, on stage, like, I get to do this with my husband. And they'll still be like, so are you single? And it's like, damn.
So I see you working that mic stand. You want to come to my place later? Jason's like, I'm right here, dude. I'm right here.
They just don't care. And I was like, okay, this is what I signed up for. And I couldn't, back to the whole, like, you never stop maturing and growing. In my 20s, I wouldn't have tolerated that. I would have fought. I probably would have lost a few times, but I would have fought. Now, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. Then why would I be mad about that? You're with this attractive woman and people want to bang her. Maybe that's cool, I guess, for them.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go bang her instead. And by bang,
I'm probably gonna go not have sex with her tonight in a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah, she's gonna be like, "Oh, Jason, get that away from me right now."
We're just gonna be happy that we made enough money to get to the next town.
Baby, we can eat this morning.
That's exactly what it was like. You want to go to a buffet and eat so much that we won't have to eat tomorrow? Yeah, dude. So it's wild how your perspectives on things change. Not to say that somebody should, kind of back to your kid. Not to say that you have to stay in said small town forever.
Oh yeah,
but dude, it's hard to get through people's head that there's no magical place.
She's 16 and she's growing up. She's becoming this rad little, woman, and she's respectful and she's a good kid, and she loves big. Like, I'm happy about that. And I just, she's going to grow up and she's going to find out what she likes, what she doesn't like,
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool. It's fun to watch. Is it maddening sometimes? Yes, it is.
Yes.
Like, she likes this singer named Lynn Lapid. I never heard of her. Her friend's going to the show. It's down in Charlotte. And the thing is, her friend's dad is the one that takes her to these shows, and they get a hotel. And I'm like,
oh, Jesus.
I was like, kid,
Fancy. I
was like, I know Carly, your friend. She's great. But I don't know her dad, and I'm not going to trust another dude around my 16-year-old daughter that I don't know. And she's like, oh. So I call up her mom. I'm like, listen, she wants to go to the show. I know you don't want to go. I'll take her. Mm-hmm. And she's like, for real? And I was like, yeah. I was like, just tell me how much tickets. I'm like, dude, 2 tickets cost me like $50. That just goes to show you how big of an act. I was expecting something much, much more expensive, but I was like, it is what it is, man. It's a lot of driving in one day, but oh well, And so I told her, and she's like, are you kidding? I was like, nope, but you got to come up with $30 because you're going to give me money back for the ticket. And she's like, but like, we went to see Kill Lincoln. I'm like, small ska band, small venue, 3 tickets plus the under 21 fee for you and your brother cost me $70. Yeah, no, you got to start paying for your tickets, kid. And she's like, okay, I'll get $30 together. And she's like, but why, for the record, why am I paying for this ticket? I'm like, because you're 16 now. It's time you started buying your own concert tickets. Okay. I was like, that's the rule. I had to do it. You have to do it. She's like, well, this is a sucky parenting rule. And I'm like, take it up with my parents.
Like, why do you need tickets to a show?
Yeah. Like, we're going to see Less Than Jake, me, Bailey, and Kale. Kale and I are going to see Metallica end of May.
That's going to be really fun.
Dude, he got into them because they had a whole season in Fortnite.
And they have a documentary coming out called How Metallica Saved My Life.
Huh?
I don't know if I'm going to see it, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Suicidal Tendencies apparently is on that tour, and so is Pantera.
Yeah. And then I'm going to see Wu-Tang a week after Metallica.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, when fucking Method Man, the only reason I got tickets, he's like, this is it for us. And typically I don't buy that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then Meth and RZA both go, we got fucking grandkids, man. I don't want to be on a bus with these men anymore. I don't want to fly with these men anymore. He's like, I want to go hang out with my grandbabies. And Method Man's like, damn right. He's like, I love these men. I grew up with them. We made all this music, but we're done. Like, and then Meth goes, dude, he's like, I'm in my mid 50s. And I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, dude, how is Method Man 50 something years old? That means we're old now.
We are old. We are very old. And if you don't think you're old, date a 20-year-old.
No.
Date a 24-year-old. I mean, not 20 even. That doesn't make it better.
It's still.
You'll be reminded of how old you are.
Dude, I can't keep up, man. I get roasted. And I'm just like, one, I don't know half of what they say when they're in roast mode.
Mm-hmm.
And two, they barely know me, but they are so right. It's not fair.
I don't mind getting old. There's benefits getting old. I feel like this is going to sound, maybe this is the way we end the show on, since we have new people in the chat. I feel like sex at this age is so much better. It's so to the point.
Yeah, because you have to like fit it in the schedule.
Yeah,
Like,
like, look, man, I need some dick like now. Maybe you can cuddle a little bit afterwards, but we got to get it in. Foreplay, you don't really have to if you don't want to. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, give me 30 seconds. You got it, girl.
Oh,
I got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
no
like,
more. Yeah.
It's like you're a CEO of like a Fortune 500 company, and like she comes to you and she's like, you see her like get her phone out, and she's already got like the calendar app up. She's like, okay, so Tuesday 4:45 to 5:15, I'm open. How's your Tuesday look? And you're like, I can do 5 to 5:15. Okay, that's good. That's good. We can. And like she just sex time 5 to 5:15.
This Kush looks as the Swiss chocolate of sex. Dude, I'm at a point now. I'm like, oh man, look at those liver spots on her hands. Like, fuck yeah. She's not fucking around with the dick. There's no games being played. There's no tease. I don't want to be teased. Don't tease me. It's not a lollipop. It's a dick.
Dude, Mercutio Jason, I already cached one of these boners from my wall cache of boners. It's time to go.
Right? You're like, we don't have time to fuck around here. We got a movie to watch afterwards. Oh, we're gonna watch a movie afterwards.
I'm gonna make a coffee. Ooh.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
See, look, we've got the new guy, Pit Sniper, stretch marks. Yes. As soon as I see him, I'm like, yep. What do I say? If the titties don't hang low, I got to go.
Dude, one of the women I work with calls them tiger stripes.
That's what I fucking say. If you're complaining about all that shit, dude, go fuck yourself. You suck. You fucking suck.
Vulcan Jay out here catching the early bird special of pussy. Kush, long butts and long afternoon naps.
Dude, have you ever had old people sex with someone? And I fucking live alone, and this is kind of a vacation spot. So you can come here and fucking, it's passionate when you walk in the door, right? There's passion going on. There's a long drive from either a picture from the border or the airport, and the whole drive, you're driving along the ocean, so it's romantic, and we're looking at each other like this is going to be so intense, and it is. It is. And then we're both old, though. So we spent so much energy. You know your cardio days at the gym where you're like, I'm going to do an hour on the treadmill today. Right? You know those days? You know what? I'm going to go so fucking I'm going to get on the elliptical after that. That's how that 5 minutes of sex feels like for both.
And then she's like, don't touch me. I'm going to sleep.
We're both like sitting there in a fucking pool of our own fluids, you know, and she and I look over and would you like some more blanket or you want to? We did the thing now because when you're young that takes a long time, or you're gonna have to do it 15 times for a long period of time. When you're old, it's like now that we got that out of the way. I brought my book. She's like,
you see her like
go read on the terrace. It's a beautiful fucking afternoon.
You see her like reach into her purse. You're like, oh, what you reading? More Kuntz. I can't help it. I'm a sucker.
Yeah. Can you turn on turn that Steely Dan up, please? It's beautiful with the way the sun's hitting the water right now.
Jason's just back there, coffee cup in one hand, frothing it. Just.
Oh. And then, and now your latte is that much better because she's just like, I just got dig down for 4.5 minutes. And this motherfucker came up and made me the frothiest latte ever. Fucking, what is this, a cappuccino? That's just straight foam. That's velvety foam you've created in there, sir.
Jason, is that a heart as well?
That it is, ma'am.
Full service, baby. Full service. All gas, no brakes.
All gas. And it really is. And I'm going to hit that fucking vagina wall.
See, Jason doesn't coast into Pound Town. He hits the gas.
It is all, Mac did not lie. It is a 1/4 mile for me. Mac's over there with taking his pills and shit, doing the Indy 500. I'm like, nah, man, this is the Hot Rod Association. This fucking, that car is getting airborne.
Jason's like, I'm the John Force of Dick and Down. Okay. Mac's over here trying to do NASCAR. Fuck that shit.
Fuck that shit. What lap are you on? Because there's so much other shit I want to do. I'm like, hey, you're in town. You don't have any dietary restrictions? Oh, fuck yeah. You want to go to this like really cool Brazilian steakhouse? That sounds great. We're not going to do it after that because we're going to be filled and gassy. And she's fine with that. Everybody's happy. We banged. We ate. We watched movies. We had some deep bullshit conversation. And then you can fuck in the doorway right before you leave. And you feel like the most badass person in the world when that happens. Right? That's all you, it's when you're old, that's it. And you're set. You're fucking set. When was the last time you had sex? I don't know, but the last time I had it was pretty fucking cool.
Jason's at it's the quality, not the
it's
quantity.
The quality, yeah. I'm not trying to get numbers. I'm old. I'm trying to keep these boners for as long as possible. And as I get older, I know I only have so many boners I can keep, so I got to keep counting the boners. There's a tally marks on the wall are not for women, it's for the boners.
Jason, are these notches in your bedpost? No, sweetheart. That's the amount of boners I have left before.
That's my boner count.
It's my boner tracker. I know I could do some digital shit, but it's just easy enough to erase it off the wall. Just a little.
Look at Vulcan. enjoying some tacos.
Not gonna lie, Mexico sounds like a post-divorce dream.
If you've never. There was this woman.
A boner cartridge bandolier. Just A saw pouch full of fucking frothers. Jason, where's your rifle? Don't need it. I got my boner cartridges right here.
Dude.
We have to go because I have to go to bed.
Okay, go to bed. Thank you
Yes.
guys for watching this. If you have friends, tell them that you appreciate them. Tell your family you appreciate them. If you're still speaking to them, it's important.
Love your friends. Jason's like, what does IFAC stand for? Individual First Aid Kit. Oh, I figured it had something to do with that when all the bandages came flying out as I was pulling them out to put my frothers and my Blue Chew in there.
And I don't, this is, hey, these boners are all natural. That's why they only last for 4.5 to 5 minutes.
Just that quarter mile, like Jason said.
And the quarter mile, what happens after that car does a quarter mile? It's done for the day. Just like me.
Jason gets that nut out and he's like, okay.
Happy 2025 to you.
That's right, girl. Remember, sweetie, it's not the size of the boat. It's how fast it gets there. Oh, you wanted a yacht? Sorry, sweetheart. I'm a schooner.
No.
Built for speed.
But with a small boat, we can efficiently catch more fish.
And now I'll put it in your port. Jason, did you just call my vagina a port? No, I didn't.
Nope.
I did. But I didn't mean to.
Kushlik says, this is an advertisement for never getting old. No, Kushlik, this is an advertisement for how dope being old is. If you think fucking all night is cool because you and your friends you got fucking boof and meth and all the other crazy shit you're doing wherever the fucking world you are. I'm telling
boofing meth. God, I hope no one's boofing meth. We got somebody watching that's like in mid boof. He's like, what? What's wrong with boofing meth?
What the fuck is wrong with these guys? Turn that shit off. Fucking boof Nazis on the fucking screen.
We got the rummest and that black dude who doesn't like boofing.
Like, if you're doing that shit when you're young and you're drinking and everybody's like hot and you're fucking just jerking off cats, you're like, yeah, this is cool. That's cool until you get old and you're like, my arms are tired.
And you have carpal tunnel, so you can't get.
You got that fucking bowling wristband on. Nobody wants to get jerked off with that bowling wristband. It's like Sally from fucking Accounts Receivable trying to jerk you off. Like,
it's like, bro, why'd you get the left hand? That she doesn't have the wrist brace on, and she's like, nope, I'm gonna have to put that one on too. And you're just like, God damn. Listen, it chafed really bad. Oh, come on.
But my wrist, it's from the, oh God, trust me, you're going to get tired of all that. It sounds so cool.
Your knees are sore too. Cause like, you're just down there. Like you stand up, it sounds like a fucking Rice Krispies bowl. Like after you dump milk on it.
What, I'm going to get 2 chicks tonight. Oh, that sounds like a lot of conversation I don't want to have afterwards.
Tony just said, come quick. That Rummus and the black fella are bashing boofing. Haven't brought up shoots yet.
Like, can you imagine? Can you fucking imagine how, like, if there's shit that sounds cool, like, oh, me and my friend just want to double up on you. I'm like, oh, do you have a time machine? Because right now, I can't do it. I can't.
Well, or you sit there and you're like, listen, I can dedicate 5 minutes to this. How you split that 5 minutes up, I leave to you. But I would need a detailed itinerary. So is it going down on you for 30 seconds and then her for 30 seconds? You get a minute of pumping. She gets a minute of pumping. You know, like, how are we going to do this? Just so I don't miss the moment, so to speak. But yeah.
And then I have to give them like prerequisite rules that are going to cause me to come too quick. Right? Because it's like, look, if you are going down on her and then I'm supposed to hit her from behind while that's happening, there's a good chance I'm going to come at the point of insertion.
Yeah. And
just the sight of that alone, it's too much for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much for me. I can't.
It's just like one of you's going down on me and the other one tongues my balls.
Oh, can't do it.
Done.
Can't do it. I'm going to blow someone's head off.
Yeah, dude, that's going out the back of Julie's head.
We need OSHA in here if that's going to happen.
Yeah. Like, you actually, let's call them now. Right now before we
whatever. This is what I can do. You can sit in a corner while that one gets it, and then you can come and get that leftover hard on that's still going to be there for a good 10 pumps, but after that it's just going to be a wet noodle.
Yeah, it's gonna be everywhere.
Yeah,
like it's gonna be like trying to control like a fire truck water hose with one person. Just all over.
It's gonna be a lot.
Yeah.
You might want to get a tarp.
Yeah.
But as far as you guys doing stuff to each other, just motivational quotes. Can you just say you can yell motivational quotes?
Maybe high five. You know,
high five is fine.
Yeah.
But if you touch me while I'm in her, it's gonna shoot.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
It's gonna shoot out.
Mm-hmm. This is how Jason developed a safety vest fetish. Jason's going into TJ this weekend, guys, and he's going to start talking to him, and he's just like, listen, the vibe's good. I need you to answer one single question for me, yes or no. And she's like, oh, Jason's freaky. Okay. Do you have a safety vest and hard hat? I will also accept safety goggles and a safety vest, or a tool belt and a hard hat.
Tool belt.
Any combination of those two things. No, you don't. Oh. Could you get them though?
That is the real question. Because I don't know about you. You're a different beast to me. You understand the mission. I'm on a different mission. I'm on a chill mission. And that shit just seems like so much like today at 47, the year of our Lord, 2025, that shit seems like too much work.
I mean, some protective eye pro would be good just in case.
I would think.
Jason, why am I wearing these?
That's another thing about old chicks too. Old chicks aren't trying to fucking do all that crazy shit to impress you, make you think that they love you. Old chicks like, look, man, I'm fucking here, and I treated.
I paid for dinner.
I'm wearing my nice underwear today.
I wore uncomfortable shoes. Okay, like, come on.
I'm gonna fucking ride your face like it's a fucking show pony. How about that? Is that enough for you, Mr. I need two people? No, ma'am. That is more than enough.
Can I just get a small space where I could breathe? No? That's fine.
Kush looks at the liver spotted hand. This is the most graphic comment TIR has ever made. This pit sniper's right. Old chicks just fuck hard. They do. They so do. I don't know what it is. I
think it's probably like us with our boners. It's like they know they've only got so many fucks left, like penetrations left. They don't want to waste it. Right?
Mm.
So when everything's just right, like things are flowing well, because let's face it, that happens at a certain point in a woman's life. Things just aren't as lubed up as they used to be. But things are going. And when it hits for her, she's like, dude, dick. And she calls up Jason Miles. And she's like, Jason, I need that 5 minutes. And you're like, bet. Where am I going? Drop me a pin
Yeah.
right now. I'm on the way.
Yes. Yes. It's not. Yes. Yes. Fuck.
And then after Jason throws that 5 minutes down, she's like, I've got a couple bags of fertilizer. I need you to. I'm doing some gardening today.
You're just helping with home chores. Can you move? My sciatica's acting up. Can you get something from the top of the counter, please? It's above the cabinets. Can you please help me out?
I really liked your coffee. Can you make some? Jason's just like, you said you were doing gardening, but I had to plant like 12 tomato plants. What the fuck? I mean, it was a good 5 minutes, but like I've been working for 3 hours.
Exactly. You got to do a lot for that. But I'm being 100% serious. Everything's better when you're older. Leave a comment if you think I'm lying. Leave a comment if you disagree. Definitely leave a comment if you agree. Because I feel like the age demographic for this show does skew older.
Oh, dude, it's all over the place, though. It really is. I've seen some young people and some like folks our age, and we kind of run the gamut here. It's great. But I'm going to bed. I'm tired. Bane needs sleep.
Mac, thank you. And I want you to know, I see this.
Jason, it's going to be great when I see you next time and you got that nice V that points down at your, your schwitzel, if you will. It's going to be great. I'm going to have big, fucking huge traps and lats. Jason's going to have that V. And when you put us together, we'll still get shot down 99 times out of 100.
Probably.
Yeah.
You're like, you guys are gym cells. I'm like, fuck you.
And then that one that says yes, it's going to be like, Jason. I'm like, God damn, the height. That's what it is.
Thank you guys very much, Mac. Have a good night. We are out.